Crash goes the camera. Go live. Get this thing set up here. I'm about to go live on the talk too. Welcome to TikTok Live. Have fun interacting with your viewers in real time. Creators must be 18 or older to go live. Viewers must be 18 or older to recharge and send gifts. Remember to create a safe viewing experience by following our creative guidelines. Opal Rain is with us. Nani Belinda. Oh, keep it up. Your energy draws the crowd. That's what it is, man. Your energy, nothing else. Jennifer Wolf is with us. Angelica. That looks like the Portuguese spelling. I don't know, though. What do I know about it? Oh, somebody with Arab lettering. I love that Arab language. It looks so beautiful. Amphibious Sind. Uh-oh. I'm telling you, our overlords are going to be amphibians, not reptiles. I've been saying it for a long time. The overlords are coming. Salamanders and such. Newts. That's what's going to get us. Waxatl. What are those things called? Brandon JJ. What's up, Rory? She likes rock. She likes rock and rock and roll. Bohemian. There you are. We're up on YouTube too, baby. I got to get my babe tooed out, so to speak. It falls behind the hole that I got in the wall here. Now with me when I grab that. Oh God. Oh. Yes. The old knee joints don't work like they used to. Got to grab the light. Excuse me while I grab my hose. Oh, welcome to the Atheist Underground. Yeah, we do this live every Sunday if we can. I missed last Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Yeah, Mother's Day. I take shit if I don't deal, even though my mom's a long way away. But yeah, that's your yearly duty, right? The original Hallmark holiday, I suppose, after Valentine's Day. Because who's going to say no to Mother's Day, right? Genius of marketing. Open the door to all that other shit. Now we got what? Secretary's Day, right? We got Niece's Day, one of those days of the year. Niece's Day, Nephew's Day, Grandparents' Day, Creepy Uncle's Day. Ooh. Every day is Creepy Uncle's Day in America. That's right, because we've got the government being run by creepy uncles. One who can't shut up, one who can't stay hidden but keeps diddling people, one who's in trouble for stealing, one who's in trouble for lying, one who has a worm in his brain. It's literally the era of the crazy uncle in America. I don't think they'd thought of that before, but it's really true. Think about it. They've got rid of all the crazy aunts even. They're just like, nah, you're a woman, you're not crazy enough for us. The Balrog is with us. Oh, he's my guy. You shall not pass. Good morning, my friend. Rich. I'm doing okay. I'm nuts busy this time of year. And, we were planning a No Kings thing for the 13th, but it turns out there's no national No Kings thing on the 13th. So the committee of gals that I got doing it is, are we doing it because we don't want to confuse people? But they want to do something because they've already told some people doing something. So people going to protest on June 13th? I don't know. Or are they going to, wait for the next national one? Does anybody out there know? Are there any plans in your local area for something? It's Agent Orange's birthday. I think I've been toying with the idea of just throwing a birthday party, right? Throwing a birthday party for him, inviting his friends, Satan, Putin, and billionaires, a handful of gross billionaires, Bezos, right? And just have a mock birthday party for the guy. People can then show up afterwards, and each of his friends that are there, there are only 3 or 4 of them. Hitler, I suppose, Stalin, these guys would be like Xi Jinping, who ignores him while he's all, oh. You see, he looked like an idiot, didn't he? He went and he's all like thumbs up and smiles, and Ping's all like, bitch needs me. Yeah, he got owned in China. Got owned in China. Went over there, spent taxpayers' money on a flight, got a parade thrown for him, made himself happy with the fucking pomp that he loves so much. You're so great. Thank you for coming. You're so great. Things like this dude's a fucking idiot. uh, Z-Ping, he's my guy Z-Ping. I call him Z-Ping. We're friends. Um, but he likes him, right? Because he knows he's more powerful and smarter than him in his way, right? Maybe not more powerful than him, but more powerful in his country relative to the people, right? Because he loves the strong man. He loves the dictator, but doesn't get why we need this. He knows he's right about everything. Why do I need a constitution? Smear the internet with Obama hope posters? What does that mean? Brand Dandy? Brand Andy Brand Andy J? Don't know what it means, my friend. Hercules, what's up? Uh, yeah, not a lot. I got. Yeah, hope schmo. But I don't know why we're leaning into the past at all. That's what we got going on right now is the past. We've allowed the stupid to elect the greedy and the old and the white, and now we got old white men running the country again that nobody fucking wants, nobody likes, nobody wants, everybody's tired of it. I, I don't know how it does anything but swing the other way in a massive, massive fucking pendulum rip towards the left with someone new, right? There's going to be people like, who? There's people coming out of the wings that'll be cult of personality people that the people will be like, oh yes, thank you, a normal person who gets it, who's not fucking shady pants. Who could vote for that guy? God, he's just evil incarnate. I don't get it. My friend Brendan McNary. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure I got the whole country was clowning on Trump. Yeah, in China. Yes, yes. Although the funniest meme I saw was that when Bezos saw the crowd of children, or Zuckerberg saw the crowd of children waving flags, he yelled, "Get back to work!" Krampus is with us. What's up, Krampus? Corky J is with us, man. Corky, I love that word, Corky, in that name. I'd be happy if my name was Corky. If your last name is like I grew up with the Cork Hills, right? Their last name is Cork Hill, so everybody is Corky. Vegan Girl 95 is with us. I love a vegan girl, I can promise you that. I would never vote Democrat, even if a gun was my head. Never, ever in my life. See, this is the problem right now. It's like people don't listen to what people say. They're just, you're on that team, you suck. Ugh. That's the level of thinking we got to. I'd vote for a Republican. I'd vote for a Democrat because I judge people on what they talk about they're going to work on. And do I think they're actually going to work? Problem is that both parties have let us down so disgustingly. But the Republicans are actively racist and creepy, right? So in the end, can you fix the Democrats from being a do nothing, screeching horde of tell you how to think losers who are so shitty that they gave us this asshole? So imagine that. Imagine being such a shitty opposition party that you can't beat this liar, the most unpopular president in the history of the fucking nation. Imagine that. Imagine that's how shitty the Democrats are. Yeah. So people are like, oh, this love you progressive. No. I'm a purple party dude, man, because I don't give a fuck who you sleep with or what you call yourself, man. It does not affect me. It doesn't affect me. If you're my friend and I have to interact with you, I will try to call you by the pronouns that you, but I am not in favor of teaching kids that there's multiple genders. It's like, let parents do their job. Keep that fucking, we need to take care of the 3% of people that are actually intersex. To tell people that that's not a thing is stupid. They're trying to tell people that there's only two. No, there's always been people who are intersex in different ways. And the people that are actually feel that way in their minds, that they need healthcare like the rest of us, period. They don't need people telling them it's wrong and it's not real. That's gaslighting on a grand scale. But to be a fucking, progressive, screeching, woke kindergarten teacher who confuses children before they have enough wits about them to be skeptical about anything that they're told, it's just stupid and wrong. And it's given us this pig. We have this pig in office because of that. All right? So don't fucking label me with that ultra-left bullshit. We need to get back to the fucking middle. I would never vote for a Democrat. You know what? That might be the most ignorant thing I've read today. The Democratic governor of Kentucky continues to be a groundbreaking politician in a state that is overwhelmingly Republican. He's a Democrat, Andy Bashir. He's a fucking good dude. He gets it. We work together for the civic good. We don't lob fucking fireballs from one extreme to the other, trying to fucking get attention and make people hate even more what they already mistrust. This is a tactic that is used by these people to keep themselves in power, and it's working. And if you've let it work on you, you're one of the undereducated. You're one of the people who have been misled by Fox News and your own bigotry and your own willingness to open the window on a vacuum chamber, an echo chamber of lies and deceit and deflection and miseducation and misrepresentation and disingenuity and religion. They're keeping you stupid. If you believe anybody on the extreme, it represents the majority of the country, then you're completely misguided. And I was with people yesterday who were like, you know what? I live around people who vote for Agent Orange over and over. They're Republicans, they're conservative. They espouse these extremist philosophies in their living rooms. But when I meet them on the street, we love each other. We're neighbors. We're friends. And this is the point. This is the issue. People, I love persons. I hate people, right? When I meet people, and it doesn't matter, we get along. I love people. I love if you greet me with friendship and smiles and no preconceived notions about it, we get along. It doesn't matter to me how you vote. It really doesn't. But then we go back into our echo chamber and we listen to the lies that come down on both sides. The left lies its ass off too, all the time. People are trying to fucking scare you to their side by promoting hate of things that aren't even real. This immigrant fucking crisis, I have yet to see it. I have yet to see it. Now, granted, I don't live on the border in Arizona, but I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. And I've had other people. Where's our guy? He told me that it's a completely made up conspiracy to scare people who are never going to meet a Mexican in their life. That guy in South Dakota, right? He's like, what? The person in Tennessee, in the country, what? That's happening. They believe what they hear. And I have never met a Mexican I didn't like. I've never met an immigrant that I didn't think was a really, really fine person. I vote Republican occasionally. When I was a kid, I was brought up Republicans. The Republicans and Democrats weren't that different when I was, you could be pro-life and be either. You could be pro-choice and be either. You could be religious and be either. You could be non-religious and be either. There wasn't this, you have to be a soldier for Christ with a gun in your hand and a Bible in the other. You have to be. It's just disturbing. Everyone takes themselves too fucking seriously. Yeah, unfortunately, I think Kamala has proved unelectable. A lot of people don't have any confidence in her ability. I think people don't like her voice, and they're just, But I don't think she was right. I'm not that guy. She didn't know a lot of time. She clearly is too heavily influenced by ultra progressive bullshit when it's just not necessary. We need to concentrate on the libertarian aspect there. Let people live their fucking lives. Why are you trying to tell people they're not what they feel they are? It's just stupid. Can we concentrate on getting rid of measles again? Thank you very much. You fucking right-wing pigs gave us measles. You fucking kidding me? People are out there. It's ridiculous. Yeah, the right counts on. No, if you can have a brain to be on the right, but you have to be one of the leaders, one of the corrupt, one of the people who are grafting and grifting their way to riches, while the asshole in the country is like, yeah, man, own those libs, man. There's only two genders. The Bible and my pew pew. Jesus was too woke. Our Christianity is about defending America first. It's fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing, man. And then we got Artemis mission, and we got people curing cancer in America. It's like it's become such this, like that part, like it goes right together, right? We're divided as a nation politically. We're divided intellectually too. Half of the people here are really smart, really creative, really fun, really good, really care, and half the people are fucking country ass dumb. And I don't mean to get down on the country. I just use that as an expression. Plenty of country people are smart, but this country is common sense. While they let him elect a guy who doesn't fucking believe in vaccines, or appoint a guy, oh, common sense. Yeah, let's get measles back. Just makes common sense. People who talk about Christianity and common sense have neither. Thanks for the gifts. Thanks for the banging away, you guys. So not a lot of people. I'm kind of on a fucking mood today. But the atheist movement has gone in the shitter. I am on YouTube. I got 2 cameras right here. I'm on YouTube. My Bohemian's counting down holding down the fort there. I love you so much, Lucy, for that. There's a lot of action going. I got people coming. I got a met a gal who's just as really upset about Christian nationalism as I am. We're building a team. I got somebody else who's interested in producing a podcast and being able to work on promoting it more and getting back. We're going to get back into doing a real, podcast, spiritual life of American kind of separation of church and state podcast. You know what I mean? Instead of just, I've lost my motivation right now for making videos on TikTok. I don't have time. I don't have the ideas. They shadow ban me, and I probably get back on it at some point. But I really need to open up the YouTube and push the local hands off group, the local No Kings group, the other shit that I do, gardening, movie reviews. I moving into being a creator. But first and foremost, it's like finally have a team. It looks like I finally have a team of people who get it, and young people. This is a school teacher. She's 33. She's so mad about Christian nationalism. She's so mad about the dumbing down of America. She paid attention in school, and she's embarrassed like the rest of us should be at the state of education in America. Yes, of course, religion. Yes, Victoria Snow, of course. They've known it for eons. Religion is always what has been used to control the stupid masses. That's really, and the fact that the masses continue to be stupid enough to not see that, But on its plus side, it really does help people psychologically. People need that spiritual grounding, whatever it is. That if that's what you need, I don't have any issue with it. Go down and support your local church, and you like the guy who preaches to you. That's all good. I do what I need to do to self-medicate. If you need your opium of the masses, then go fucking do it. Just keep it the fuck out of government and school and everywhere, TV and roadsides. The fucking roadside crosses that pop up whenever some drunk driver goes off the road these days, it makes me out of my fucking mind. Why do I have to be distracted by religious iconry and reminded of my own mortality and the dangers of driving on the road by being distracted by shit that shouldn't even be there? Never mind depressed for the rest of the fucking week because there's another 3 crosses on Sheridan this week. What the actual fuck? That shit didn't used to happen. Why? Because people weren't tacky. They kept their religion to themselves. Now they're like, oh, hey, look, that guy did that. Was cool, man. Fancier the cross, the better, right? Those things are disgusting. That's what fucking cemeteries and memorial parks are for. Use the public fucking highway for your fucking, my person died here. It's sacred ground. Sorry, guy that has to mow the highway. Too much ado. Ryan Codrington. That sounds like a Game of Thrones name. So Ryan, welcome. When was the last time I sharded? Not since I got rid of my ass cancer, to be honest with you. The rented pig. Yeah, I'll tell you what. That was, man. Not only was I, I'm 100% remission from colorectal cancer. It made everything better. I don't shard at all anymore. And that used to be a real concern, let me tell you what. Nobody likes the bloody shots, my friend. You're hating on memorials. Yeah, I am, dude. I'm hating on people's public display of their own fucking grief. Literally. We're not, because cemeteries aren't enough. We need to also put this. Why don't we go put a cross in the hospital where you were born too? They won't mind. Just go shove a fucking cross on the wall of the hospital where your baby was delivered. Shouldn't that be more sacred ground than the one where they drunk drove off the road? Just saying. No, you were making an old guy joke. Yeah, I get it. Shots fired, my guy. I hope you're right. That's YOU apostrophe RE is how that would be spelled. Catmando. Yeah, well, Pascal's wager is really the coward's philosophy, right? So, well, I better believe just in case. Oh, okay. So I better believe in every god that's ever been invented just in case. The idea that there's an all good deity that would send us all to hell forever with no end for not believing in him in 70 years. Shut the fuck up. People who believe in hell are suckers, all right? You've been suckered by indoctrination. That shit it wasn't even a thing until Dante described it as flames in like what? When did he do his thing? 1600s? I don't know what Dante was writing. Spanish was barely a language. Jesus. Nice, Pascal. Yeah, well, easier to fit on the tag, right? The YouTube channels all they're all Atheist Underground. We're on right now. Lucy's there. I've been paying just more attention to TikTok. We originally did a podcast. You can find that at atheistunderground.com. All the old podcasts are there, and anything that I have is branded as that right now. There's a Facebook page, and the Twitter is me, right? It's El Robinero, but I don't use that fucking. I hate that fucking shit. I haven't even looked at that. That was my original SM, right? That was my first foray into SM was OG Twitter. It was only a couple years old. You couldn't even post a photograph on it. It was the old Twitter, and it was cool. When I found it, it was very cool. We are living in hell right now, Pam. You're right. I'm rewatching Game of Thrones. And Carice Van Houten's character, the Red Priestess, ooh, smoking. She has a line where she says, "There's only one hell, and that's where we're living right now." And it might be the truest fucking thing. You're hanging out your laundry today. Nice. If you got a day for that, I love it. I don't even mind it being a little bit stiff because it smells like the breeze, right? You just got to beat it up a little after you take it off the line. That makes me, those are some of those smells that make me remember growing up, man. Wood fires, clothesline laundry. Alvin, old hippiegram. Care Bear. Oh, Gare Bear. The Gare Bear 762 is with us. Yeah, cemeteries are a waste of space, but at least it's just one space for that. We don't need 10. Thank you very much. My favorite color is green, clearly. I like literally always have some green on me somewhere. But yeah, I'm a landscaper and a horticulturist. Green has always been my favorite color. Alyssa, Boston creator. Old hippie Gramps. Old hippies around this morning. You guys are fading fast, man. I got to tell you, old hippies are my people. That's, my uncles were old hippies. And even though I'm too young to be a true OG hippie, my formative years were influenced heavily by the hippie ethic, even though also I was raised in a Republican household by, not crazy people, but Christians and kind of square, kind of straight laced, right? My mom didn't have any Beatles. She had Frankie Valli on the box, right? And Sonny and Cher. Wasn't any Led Zeppelin up in mom's fucking vinyl, but no Crosby, Stills, and Nash, right? And so the hippie thing kind of lost on my parents. My dad went to the Coast Guard, not very hip, but all my younger uncles, the people I kind of looked up to, and then after I kind of got out of my own, I was like, oh yeah, my ethos is really a free love 70s kind of one. So I love all you old hippies. I'm sorry that you're dying off, bro. My dad's generation. He had a mini stroke the other day. So he's on my mind. He's fine. He's got to have a procedure to clog out those arteries into his head so it doesn't happen worse. But they caught the symptoms early and got him. They're lucky. Darth Dawkins, our buddy. Yeah, you've seen me before, Darth. Yeah, you're here to bore us with your trolling. Hey, now it's 2026. I need to get my life. Flinelale. Okay, Darth. We got Darth Vader here. Darth Dawkins, thinks what did he call it? Skepticism is irrational. Or maybe not, but I'm an irrational skeptic because we should all just believe. Okay, yeah. No, yeah, and we're not interested in that. I just, I got my people. We've been through this before, bro. I'm like, well, no, you're welcome to stay on, but that's not what I do. There's guys who'll debate that fucking shit. I don't know, debate and philosophy. I'm not about it, all right? I'm not about it. Show me evidence, and we can talk. Otherwise, life is about searching for the answer, finding the reason for things, and I'm not interested in philosophical loopholes in order to be like, well, this is really this. I've been through it so many times, and it really fucking bores me. And I get it. And I'm not obviously I'm not that's not my thing. You end up beating people, right? Because you like that. You have your ducks in a row. You have your arguments, which I respect. You know, there's a lot of people who like that. They really like that shit. Um, Imagine even making part of your identity about something you don't believe in. See, well, the thing about this, Finn, is that we really don't, you know, and we're here to stand up for freedom of religion, and that's the thing that Christians don't get. I don't care. I don't care if you believe in God. I used to believe in God. I don't want it influencing the way people treat each other in society and the way that the government makes laws. Period. It's an embarrassment that we allow Christian schools to use tax money to fucking fund parents sending their kids to a place where they lie about the fundamental truth of their existence. That should be a private school that you pay for, right? Why it's just that separation of church and state is a thing, and there's a million ways to explain why that was the way it was and why it's better and why it's true. And they've miseducated people to the point where people don't even know that's true anymore. They want this to be a Christian country, not realizing that that's only going to impede in the end their ability to practice their brand of Christianity. It's a huge fucking political ball of bullshit. But that's why I want to live in a country where the rising tide of intelligence floats all the boats, not where my neighbor thinks that evolution is not real because a book that was written 1,500 years ago says it wasn't. You know, back when people didn't know how to wash their ball sacks properly. It's absurd. I don't, if you want to believe in a creator, that's great. And I'm just debating that is not my issue. But why would that be a god? If there's a creator, okay, that's just a terraforming alien that we don't have the ability to detect. Lives in another phase of existence. This is a terrarium on his gigantic world. All of that is possible. Why is that someone that deserves our praise? If you want to be a deist, good for you, man. Like I said, whatever was to get you to sleep at night. Right? thank you, Balrog. Yeah, I love those guys. Right? They're just like so fucking. They're like beagles, right? Like I know how to argue this, and I can make these atheists look stupid because I can turn them around with this circular argument about there isn't. It's just literally it's highbrow trolling, right? Balrog. But that's all right. I appreciate the fucking effort. We got a few people up, got a few people on. That he's been on before. He wants to debate, and there's plenty of people on TikTok who do that, right? I'm not that guy. I'm a sarcastic fucker. I'm a comedian. I want to make fun of religion, right? I don't care if you believe in God, right? To me, all of that shit is just science we haven't explained yet. I have a sense of wonder about the universe. I wonder why and where and how it all came from. I just don't pretend that I need to make up the answer. I certainly don't need to accept someone else's made up answer from eons ago because you think God appeared to somebody back then and told them the real truth, and it hasn't been corrupted since then. Even if that happened, no one fucking changed it. I have someone in my life who calls the Bible a history book. What would you say to them? First of all, it's not a book. It's not a book. It's a collection of scrolls that most of which had nothing to do with each other. A few of them did. Some of them were meant to be history written from the perspective of the person writing it. So it's partly accurate and partly skewed as any history from the day would be, with the lack of corroboration and physical evidence that we would have today to record that history, i.e., photographs and other writings to cross-reference. These were largely the first writings of their culture, right? And so they could say what they wanted. So, whereas we know part of it's historical because the cities and the people are verifiably historical, the accuracy of that history has to be taken as any ancient history would be with a huge grain of salt, because you're going to write that history to influence the people who are going to read it and spin it your own way. Part of the part of the Bible are law books. Those aren't history books; they're law books. Part of the Bible is clearly metaphors about history. We know that Genesis didn't happen like that, that's their creation. That was the Hebrew tribe's creation myth. Like every culture has its creation myth. Every one. This is the Jewish creation myth from the day. Why would we accept that as the descendants of Northern and Western Europeans? Why don't we consider Beowulf our holy book? It's not. We aren't Palestinian. This is not our history. It's not our creation myth, right? What happened with all of that is obvious beyond any. We know where those books came from now. We know where Yahweh came from. Yahweh was part of a pantheon in the Canaanite legend. He was but one, and his job was take care of the Hebrews, who were one of the Canaanite tribes, right? So how is that guy who told his people not to worship the other gods that he acknowledges exists by his dialogue or his commands? What's he talking about? If he's the only God, why does he need to say that? No, you shall not worship. You shall have no gods but me. Don't let me catch you worshiping Jim's God. I'm your God. But there are obviously multiple, or he wouldn't need to reference it. How is that person now the God of everything that either set the Big Bang into motion or created the universe from nothing, per the Genesis story? This is it's silliness, right? The God of everything is El in the Genesis story, not Yahweh. You have to be a bonehead, honestly. It's fun to. And I know people who like to explore it to get at the bottom of the myths, but to believe the whole arc of the mythology from Genesis to Revelation, you have to be forcing it on it because there is no arc there. They just shoved it together for you to the point where they left out the Gospel of Mary and any references to female deities. This is all forced on you by patriarchs and heteronormative Westerners, men, over the ages. Oh, another guy who doesn't like my hat. Ah, that has a lot to do with it. Voice of reason, though. Yeah. Why are we also not considering the Greco-Roman gods while discussing it? Well, again, they're easy to dismiss, right? The Greek and Roman gods are easy to be like, well, that's silly. Clearly, there are not any gods on Mount Olympus. A million people have been up there. It's not even that big, right? So it's easy to dismiss that. But the one unseen God, right? That's harder to deny. So to me, we've always been taught Roman and Greek mythology in school because you can't really compare it to Christianity. But if they taught Egyptian mythology on the regular, one would learn the parallels to the Jesus myth as far as born to a virgin, dying and rising, sun gods. This is all reflected in earlier mythologies. But if kids were taught those mythologies, it would dawn on them that their mythology is not terribly unique, right? And maybe it's not real then, But we stay away from that, right? So we teach them the Greek and Roman, and we teach Norse mythology because these pantheons of polytheism, they are more easily dismissed by people. We know that gods don't come down and make love to random people and give birth to babies out of their brains, and all this shit is like sounds silly. But one god, it happened one time, it's so special. One god actually did same thing, came down as an avatar, made love to a human girl, gave birth to a demigod. It's all just so boringly repetitive. It's not. Literally, the people that discuss it like it was real theology. Oh, what do you think the actual nature of Jesus is physically? Is he part God material? Is he all man? Is he? You're talking about bullshit. Our Lady of the Worthless Miracle. Yeah, our Sacred Heart of the Unwanted Touch. That's the great thing, though. They all think that common sense, reason, logic. But that's the Dunning Kruger thing, isn't it? Today is a bold hit day. Woke White Man is with us. Not sure what that means. Heather Sweeney, Nikki Baked. Nikki Baked what? Speaking of baked, where's my item? Woo, been a minute. Must be out there. This guy's deaf has had trains. Okay, good grammar. Yeah, we got trolls tonight, man. Sounds like the voice of experience right there. Got in three persons. Yeah, all male figures. Yeah, I had an Asian cat come up. He's Korean. He came up to me and he was mystified by Christianity. He was at a party. I'd never met him before. He's a grandpa, right? He didn't have a lot of English. He says to me, he's like, "One God or many gods?" That's what he said to me. And he was assuming that I, as a Westerner, that I would be probably Christian, right? I could tell he had said more than that. I could tell he was asking me, do I believe as a Christian, is there one God or is there many gods? Because he was confused by the Trinity. He made it obvious by his thing. And of course, he asked the wrong asshole. And I go, me? No gods. And he goes, no God? He thought that was the most, he had no idea that someone was going to say that to him. It was unthinkable to him, atheism. The Abrahamic, well, of course they will. Of course they will. John Lennon said it. He's like, Christianity will fade and die. And we see it happening. It's fading and dying away right now. Nobody wants that shit. It's irrelevant and anachronistic and stupid, right? It's dying on its own. That's why do you think they're trying to prop it up so hard? Shove it in your face every time. God's on our side with this friggin' Iran thing. God bless. Ooh, did you hear us praying to our Lord back there? Just Schmatzy Barbie says before. It's like they're shoving it down our face at every turn. It's fucking offensive. It's disgusting. It's literally uh, uh, offensive. There's dudes. We have a farmer's market here, man, and there's a couple of Gregs that come out and like set up a table, and it literally look like they're like living one of these upper middle class suburbs, where you got to work at Abbott Labs and make your fucking 150 grand, so you can afford the mortgage at this fucking shitty Karen house with the Joneses next door, and you buy your fucking fishing boat, whatever the fuck you do, and you live your normal ass white bread disgusting life. They come down to the farmer's market and set up tables and play religious music and try to talk people into fucking literally. And I'm like, what? People come to the farmer's market on a Saturday morning. It's a beautiful place. It's tranquil. No one's looking for church. We all know where to find church, pal. It's offensive, man. It's just tacky, man. Religious people are so tacky. No, God, that's always been a thing. She likes dragonflies. One for my girl. That's always been that whole manifest destiny bullshit. God's on our side. That's the conquistador. That's the expansionist. That's the imperialist that thinks like that. And you get it, right? In the day, if you're like winning every war and praying to God that you're going to win every war, and He lets you win every war, without a lot of other science, that's the way it was going to evolve. I don't blame anybody in the day for thinking that, but now, yeah, it's a little bit more about military superiority than it is about God's favoring you. Give me a break. We know better than that shit now. So to try to fight, yes, exactly. Thank you, Pam. Religion is the behind most of the wars. The Inquisition and the Salem witch trials. The good old days. Yikes. Give their hair a twist, those trolls. Where's those trolls? Let's fuck with those. Oh, the troll. Again, the 70s, man. I miss the troll dolls. You can still get them, I think. Who's farting in here? This dog. I swear to God, man. Speaking of sharts, somebody brought up sharts before. Man, I don't think that was me. Yeah, I thought, yeah, he probably does think they were the good old days, right? Most genocides, the Inquisition, the witch trials. What else? Thanks, Nin. Nin is here. If I didn't give you a toot, man, throw a message at me. Oh, it's my guy. What's up, man? You there? It looks like you're lagging a bit.
No, sorry, it was just loading up.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh man, I received a manifesto from a stranger on a bike with a pew in his bag yesterday.
What?
And it is off the rails. Like, I think religion is silly, but he sent me this, like, it's like he printed it himself. It's like a 13-page manifesto.
Holy shit, man. Holy shit. Give us the bullet. I'm listening. I'm going to grab something. Go tell us what it is.
Well, according to this guy, Trump is working for the communists and the Marxist-Leninists to destroy America. It was pretty intensely weird. Like, people are problematic, and like I think religion is problematic, but this shit is like beyond the pale problematic.
Yeah, and I wonder what's going to go on with that. The more you see these incels, these fucking.
Well, I feel like they're getting like radicalized at home, and then like having this like, he thinks that Donald Trump is loyal to the global communist cult. And like I think other things are wild and crazy, but like this is like a whole new level, like where like it's not a zine anymore, right? It's just a manifesto.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are so endangered psychologically by how things are going that people are coming apart at the seams. I mean, this guy biked up to my house and was like, I really need you to have this pamphlet. And he reaches into his bag, and I look in, and there's a pew-pew in his bag. So he's just like biking around the neighborhood handing out manifestos.
Bro, but you don't think that's like maybe worth a call to the police, dude? No?
I mean, I don't really call the cops.
I get that. So, believe me, I get that. But sometimes, I mean,
it would be a good idea to call like health and safety. But I don't think cops help. Like I worked in homeless shelters a lot, and one of the big things that we were very, very, very intent to not do is to call the cops, because what ended up happening is everyone ends up traumatized.
Yeah, but not everyone's got a pew-pew in their bag and is rolling up to your house.
Well, this is America, so.
Yeah, but it's also, you say, I don't want to call the police, then he comes back tomorrow, and then you can't call the police.
Yeah. Well.
You know what I mean? That's one of those.
I mean, I am not as worried about that as some.
Yeah, I get it. I'm
certainly armed myself.
I get it. We all do what we have to do. So we don't want to.
But so I had like a great week last week. For zines, I got one from the Anarchist Knitting Circle, which was great. They had a main article about the library. That shit was awesome. Okay. But I feel like I was a magnet for zines last week because I got 4 of them. And it ended with this manifesto.
Okay.
So.
All right.
People have become so traumatized by our society that there really aren't any boundaries anymore, right? There aren't like good or healthy boundaries for how we communicate with each other.
That's exactly right. Well, I think people don't know how to communicate with each other. The pocket square is taking care of that.
Right, the joy killer is what we call it in our family.
Is that right? Yeah. The pain maker, right? The stress causer. I think that has a lot to do with it. So people, even if he wanted to, he doesn't know how to say, "Look, man, I've been having these thoughts," right?
So and I'm pretty fringe. Like I'm on this is another thing. I don't know if you had this because you maybe have been a reasonable person your whole life.
What?
Well, I don't know. I said maybe.
Yeah.
But like the amount of shrugs, the amount of other things that I did as a young adult, I never expected to be one of the reasonable people. But they turned the conspiracy theory volume up so high, and they turned all of this stuff up that I'm really just like a rational and reasonable human being.
Listen, Stoner, it's time for you to step up and just save the country. I knew you thought you were just going to be able to lay back and trip in the field and watch the flowers for the rest of your life, but it's on you now, man. You got to save us.
I just don't know how I became an adult. Right?
It's all relative. Like you said, you're only an adult on a curve. You're only an adult relative to the fucking children that we've put in charge.
Run for office. I mean, I'll run from an office. I've been running from offices for a while.
I want to run for office, but I'm so dirty. They'd be like, "This dude. Have you seen his videos about Jesus? How the fuck am I going to get elected?"
Oh, it's true. I mean, atheism not super accepted. Like, so that's true. Like,
it's anti-theism. I'm afraid at this point, I'd have a hard time excusing it. But I don't really care about that. I'm sick of every school board has got a Moms for Liberty on it. Everywhere you go, they're trying to shove a fucking cross in your face.
Oh my God! Did you see though in Missouri what just happened?
No, but maybe
they fired the entire school board. The community just shit canned all of them because they were like, no, this is not going to work. And not that I want Missouri to be leading the way, but like.
So you're saying they shit can the conservatives?
Yeah.
Oh, see, the people, that's my hope, is that the people who care about education and have made it a career, even if they're Christian, they're like, you know what, we're not helping these kids, and they really care. I think on some level, a lot of those people are going to save us.
Yeah, I mean, I do, and Nikki, I agree. I think we could use like, I don't know, 40 presidents that were women. I mean, we're gonna get a few Marjorie Taylor Greens and shit in there, but still, like, I think it's their turn to screw it up.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it really people think that America is too misogynistic yet, and that's their take on it. And I'm like, no, it just needs to be the right woman, the right woman with enough cult of personality, with enough charisma, enough common sense, and good ideas, who's just electable in the way that anybody would be, could win. It had the right person as Hillary Clinton was fucking hateable, right? Nobody liked her, even though she probably would have been a decent president.
Are you kidding? She was definitely the most qualified.
Oh, for real, she was the most qualified, but that doesn't mean you end up being effective, right? She was hateable. People just didn't. She seemed like a sour old mom. Whereas in England, all those decades ago, a conservative nanny could be the prime minister because on some level, they all want to be told what to do by a matriarch who gets it and is just not going to take any shit. If the right person came, I feel like Oprah could win.
Yeah, Oprah's got a shot.
With someone like that who just, men maybe they don't love her, but she's okay. She's not gonna fuck anything up, They know her, right?
I'm not convinced there are going to be any legitimate elections at this point.
Well, see, that's the real worry, isn't it? But
well, they have made it clear that they are going to send ICE to election polling places, and so I think we have to buckle up.
That ends in a bad way, I'm afraid.
And not expect politicians to do anything.
Yeah, that's my worry.
I fall back onto dual power. Do you know what dual power is?
No.
Dual power is where you build the infrastructure without the government. So by providing resources and food to communities, you do it alongside the mechanisms of power.
Yeah.
So when they inevitably fail, there's something there to protect us from.
Right.
And I think that,
and that's government of the people, by the people, with a backup. I get that. That makes sense.
Because I think we have to expect it to fail at this point. And I've been saying this since W, and I miss that fucking failed painter. There are parts of me that think that W would do a better job. And I hated that guy. I hated him.
Bohemian Lucy asks, where in Missouri is that the whole state?
No, I don't. I just saw an article. I couldn't remember what district it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not the state. It's got to be probably in St. Louis or someplace where they feel threatened. In the country, they probably don't care.
Yeah, I mean, MTG is the example of how even they know it's too far.
Right.
Even the people who are really harmful. I mean, Madam Space Lasers, for her to become a liberal about war and shit, is just wild.
Well, honestly, I gotta give her, she's still crazy, but at least she stuck to her principles, right? Whatever they are, he ran afoul of them and she stuck to them, and I gotta give her credit for that. She's, she rejected glorious leader, and that takes some balls.
Yeah.
So. She's got no brain in her head at all. The only reason Trump is here is because Trump.
I think that's true.
Trump would have killed Biden too, Yammerhant. The only reason Trump is here is because he ran against women twice. I never really thought of it that way, but he didn't beat Hillary in the popular vote.
Not in the popular.
Not in the popular. He didn't even beat her.
Which is wild. She lost. But one of the most, because she's a sophisticated politician. I don't know if you knew this, but she worked for Barry Goldwater.
Of course, yeah. No, she's
so she's
lifelong politician. Knew what she was doing. Yep.
She is a conservative. She is a hawk.
She
is a conservative.
Yes.
She had probably a larger unmarked grave behind the Arkansas governor's mansion than any other candidate that has ever run. I think she was a villain. but I voted for her because I thought she was at least the qualified villain.
That's the thing. And you need a president who's somewhat of a villain. So Shakespeare knew it when he wrote Henry V. It's all about your leader can't be too Christian. He needs to be someone who can make the WAR thing when it suits the needs of the country. And a Christian can't really do that, right? Your president needs to be just immoral enough to actually do the dirty things that it takes to protect the country. You don't want a really, really nice guy, but you also don't want someone who just lies to your face all the time.
I mean, I don't know. If they could just keep the lies consistent, at this point.
Well, this dude, like I said, all politicians lie. All government. This dude lies on an industrial scale. It's crazy. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a fucking lie aimed at deflection or blame, right? Deflection, misdirection, and blame. And that's all he's got going on, quite honestly.
Well, but obviously that's what people want. Like, the other thing is with the way things are, I don't know why people are following the rules. Although apparently they're not following the rules that much. Like, there was some ridiculous numbers for the taxes this year. I don't know if you saw any of that, but like, it is not good.
No. No.
Like, so I think that we are in decline. And I think that is like the sad reality, is that we're going to have to come to terms with how far we've fallen if we want to recover. Right. Like, the first step is admitting, is not being in denial.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first step. And I think one thing about Trump is that it does make it harder for regular Americans to continue to live in that same denial.
Yeah.
Not impossible, obviously.
Yeah.
But like a little harder.
Yeah. Bohemian Lucy wanted to know what zine is. A zine's just what they call little pamphlets or self-produced little booklets today that these people do, right?
So this thing I showed was a manifesto. A zine is like art and poetry and usually some weird ass article about a fringe topic.
Yeah.
And then they staple it together at the library.
It all would have just been called a pamphlet in the day, or a flyer, or But you're right. People have become distributing their creative efforts that way, as well as maybe a little informational thing.
I think not only is it the first step, but that first step is a doozy for Americans to admit that there's a problem with America. Right. Especially on the 250th birthday. I've had somebody tell me that, like, that, oh my gosh, we've been doing so well for so long and we should celebrate 250 years. And I was like, are we even paying attention? We've only been this country since like 55.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that. Thank you. That's it would have been special in the day, right? I mean, except for the disease.
Well, except for the disease or the G-side or the enslavement or the fact that all those places weren't states 250 years ago. America takes so much credit for being like this bastion of like authority over 250 years, and that's just not an accurate take. That's like and so when we're in that deep of a denial, right, like when someone is sent to an AA meeting and they're like, what's alcohol? That's like the level of denial we're at. Not do I have a problem with alcohol?
Yeah.
Is alcohol even a problem, guys?
Yeah. Right.
Like,
it's true.
Like that's where we're at on the level of denial.
Yeah.
Guys.
I'm honestly.
Alcoholism's not so bad. I don't get caught when I drink and drive. I think
right.
That's the level of denial that we're in.
I have no drinking problem. I drink very well every day.
Drinking's not a problem.
It's easy. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping for a comfortable mattress and couch to watch the train wreck from a safe distance at this point. But it's very. Safe distance, I don't know. It's very ironic that the 250th is this year. Very ironic.
and again, like, we've only been this shithole since 55-ish.
Right.
You know, and like people have this like vision. I mean, like, this is part of the, for me, this is part of the fash, is that like there's this mythical past, right? And how we mythicize how it used to be, the good old days, all that MAGA nonsense, right? That's like a rabbit hole of denial that we just can't even face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the first step of recovery, and everybody's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I was going to say, is that, like, I don't know. We need it, like, what is NAA? Nationalists Anonymous or whatever? Oh, no, wait, that already has a name. Triple K.
Yeah. No, we don't need that. We just need a purple party, man. We need a
You
party.
think purple is the solution?
Yeah, we need a party that represents the middle, man. The people who are active on this have been duped into being on the extreme. The people who vote in the most numbers are on the extremes, and right now the Republicans are have been winning on the turnout side since Biden won in 16 or 20, right?
Yeah.
That time more libs came out to vote, but they're the extreme, and we need the middle who has gotten apathetic. And a lot of them, that's what happened. The independents that do care, they all went for Trump because Biden made such a fucking mess out of things in the people's minds, right? I'm not sure that was all that true, but that's the way it played out. And it was a disaster for him at the border. So the middle went for Trump in whatever way they could, in the young. And believe me, I work with all Mexicans and Central Americans. I know that they all went for Trump. I know it. And I know that they all regret it right now. All of them. They're all going the other way. He blew it so bad. He took advantage of their vote once and he blew it. None of them are voting Republican next time. None of them.
I hope that's true. I have also come to this new stance of, like, we just need consent. So the no vote should be counted, because over our whole lifetimes, you and mine, right? A third of the population that is even like legally allowed to vote, registered to vote, right? A third of us every year don't vote. And if that was accepted as like a no vote, imagine what that would do to politics. All of a sudden, it's not Trump versus a Democrat. It's Trump versus a Democrat versus no thank you.
Yeah.
And like the no thank you vote has always been a third.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, that would work.
Right, because then they can't just be president because they beat the other idiot.
Yeah, the other idiot. Yeah.
They have to also beat the no thank you.
Yes. They have to actually win a majority of votes. Yeah.
What's his name? Richard Pryor was right. None of the above.
Yeah, and I think Maggie or McGee. We need term limits. It's silly. Congress needs term limits. So how does that work if no one wins? She says, or introverted overthinker.
We'll be so much better off.
Well, who's in office though? If no one wins,
at this point, a vacated office is better than what we have.
Yeah, you just run without that. Country runs.
Just no president. Like, sorry guys, we didn't make it, or have a runoff.
It's on Congress. Yeah.
Like force a runoff, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Right, and because this happens too with like a lot of like other lower political races where people run unopposed.
Yeah.
Right, people run unopposed all the time.
Yeah.
Right, and like.
Yeah.
That shouldn't. I don't know.
You should have to get a certain amount of the public's confidence to win. So one vote gets you in office if you're running unopposed, just because nobody else gets any vote. You're not wrong.
I just mean I don't think that should be allowed, because that just means you're doing the opposite of representation.
Right.
Right. You're not representing people. You're dictating to them.
Mama Bear said they got the same people in Congress now that were there in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Her entire 51 years of life, almost been all the same people in Congress. It's embarrassing. It really is, and it's a lot of reasons. I mean, if the young people really, really understood and came out and voted, I think 16-year-olds should be able to vote, and they should be. We should make sure that they feel compelled to by education. You know, if we just educated people right in this country, none of this would be an issue. None of it. But people are able to be talked into any fucking thing. So it's 11:30. I'm gonna blast off. I got about a million things to do today.
Woo woo.
Woo woo! One more toot for y'all. Yeah, I think if you can drive, or maybe 17, you can join the military. You ought to be able to all of that stuff. Yeah. Thanks, Franny. We'll see you again soon. Nikki Baked. I chose the other path, dude. You're always good. Thanks for jumping on,
Just
bud.
say no. That's all I'm saying.
Just say no, man.
There's.
Just say
I'm just
no
saying
to
there
what's
was a
going
war
on. No.
drugs. How did that go?
Write me in. Write my name in.
Okay.
I was born the day Reagan was voted in. Well, sorry about that. Introverted overthinker. There's one for you for your misfortune. Born on Reagan's election day. That's awesome. All right, gang. Love you. That was our guy. I chose the other path. Make sure you follow us on the YouTube. I will see you guys next time. One more for Lucy.
John, they say with a lot of stuff, you'll become a maestro. Maestro of coffee. Enjoy the pleasure of a masterfully crafted coffee and feel like an Italian barista with lavazza. Maestro. This is an urgent appeal to save the children. For Tariq, Asha, and Kelsey, watching their siblings experience the pain of malnutrition is heartbreaking. They are among the millions of children at greatest risk in the global hunger emergency. We need your support right now to help save children's lives. Please call or go online to give just $10 a month, only 33 cents a day. You can help us provide food, essentials, life-saving medical care, and help children who need it most. We need 1,000 new monthly donors this month to reach children around the world and right here at home. Please help children like Cartoon so they don't have to watch their siblings suffer. Please call or go online now with your monthly gift of just $10, only 33 cents a day. You can help provide food, medicine, care, and protection by calling or going online right now and giving just $10 a month. Your donation today can help secure additional grants, which can multiply the impact of your support up to 10 times. And when you call with your credit card, we will send you this Save the Children tote bag as a thank you for your support. Your small monthly donation of just $10 could be the reason a hungry child survives. Show them they're not alone. Please call or go online to givetosave.org to help save lives. Zepbound, watch this. Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off. Watch this. And data shows that people taking Zepbound lost up to 48 pounds. Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take if allergic to it or you or someone in your family had MTC or NEN2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. Ask your doctor about Zepbound. Zepbound, watch this. Lysol disinfectant spray can prevent mold and mildew growth. Spray it every week to break the cycle. Yeah, one thing that always struck me was how close to our customer. Possible. The more data you have, the better service you can give to your client in terms of the new best product. Essentially, it's helping us and allow the data to the best possible way. Better of the same. It's not more of the same, it's better of the same. With Potbelly's Pick Your Pair, you choose from hundreds of pairs for whatever you're craving. Don't kill your dog. Hey, Dr. Marty. Are you back? What's wrong with this? Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means they're ultra processed. At Dr. Marty, we freeze-dry premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, and it's available at your local pet store. Welcome back to the State of the Union. Last week, the Pentagon began a recent government file documenting years of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, as well as concerns by previous administrations that were not ready for the possibility of encountering alien life. My next guest is out with a new book about just that, and it's full of advice like this. If an alien approaches you with multiple appendages, one of which looks like an extended hand, resist grabbing and shaking it. You don't know in advance what part of the alien's anatomy you just touched, and you probably don't want to find out. Stay with me now, and I'm Dr. Neil alone is probably ready. Are we?
Yeah, I think we are, actually, because given the testimonies that we've heard given, uh, that we heard delivered in front of Congress in 2023, 2024, 2025, from whistleblowers and insiders and military officials, ex-military, intelligence officers, it, it's no longer just the farmer in the back porch, right, commenting on what covered over their crops, or the revelers coming out of the bar at 2 a.m. So these are people of high rank, and all sincere. And so not only have they sort of said that they've got alien body parts and the reverse engineered technology, that's sort of consistent with the files that were released. So I'm fine. If that's who we are, all I'm going to ask is, uh, where's the alien?
So that's my question.
Is it too much to ask that if you've got it in the back of the stand, just bring out, and we would all transition from asking one another, do you believe in aliens, to, oh yeah, of course, the aliens there.
Well, you wrote the book. You wrote this book, you're an astrophysicist. What do you think? Are they here or have they been among us?
Whatever party, I'm saying, let's assume they're all true. Let's just start with that. If it's all true, they are the evidence, we're going to have to. And that's so I'm just saying, I'm sitting on the couch reading for that. And it was long past having to require that aliens are something you believe in. There's some testimony, there's videos. Let's just bring out the aliens that are over.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the points that you made in your book, is that you're a scientist, you're somebody who is evidence-based, so show the evidence. And on that note, depending on, you mentioned this, did release some documents never before seen, is what they call it, UFO files. And this is a big part of what you write about. You said you are, quote, saddened to report that smooth rotating flying saucers are not a thing. The physics just don't work.
Yeah, not for smooth flying saucers. I mean, there are other issues for me with rotating flying saucers. Anytime we show the view out the front window of the flying saucer, the view isn't whizzing by. So how do you have a stationary view looking out the front? It's spinning crap. Never made any sense. And so,
How do you talk about this? Yeah.
it's about our reference,
Right.
but Washington, with has Washington under, and they apply across the universe and across time. If an alien of this universe, it'll be to the same Washington.
One of the things that you write about that really got me thinking is that humans share 98+% identical DNA with chimpanzees. And then you ask us to entertain the idea, imagine if aliens had 5% or 10% or even 25% more intelligence. Along that same vector places us 2% above chimps. Just how advanced could aliens be?
Yeah, we keep with us to say, let's look at the universe of other intelligent life. Who said we're intelligent? We did it. On a cosmic scale, it may be we are to the aliens as chimps are to us. So for these reasons, I'm happy to grant aliens all matter of advanced technology. But the laws of physics, all matter of technology, I'll give them one. I'll give them any of that. But one thing that's odd, what was surprising most, is that they bring out the alien and it's humanoid. Okay? That most alien renderings you've seen, it's got a head, 2 eyes, nose, mouth, shoulders, arms, fingers, maybe 4 fingers instead of 5, right? Legs, and they walk. Okay, most life on Earth doesn't do that. But they're on another planet. So, I think the book has a lot of letters to our fascination with aliens, manifesting in our movies, culture, TV, and this is, and let's we can start here and say, how realistic, what can we expect, given our imagination and laws of physics? combined. So, yeah, plus it's also remember on what to say and not to say in your first encounter. You're representing all of you. You want that to be, the best impression you can leave on them.
We have 30 seconds left. Given this thought experiment, what do you think the meaning of life is?
Well, I think people search for meaning in life as though whether or not there's something to be, but you have the power to create that meaning in life. And for me, I want to learn something today that I didn't know yesterday. And then you say, listen to something about you. There's something that we all have the power to do. And maybe aliens want to do that too. We all think we're evil. And I think because we're projecting our own evil ways onto them, knowing that immediately when we encounter cultures of lower civilization, lesser technology than ourselves. So, yeah, meaning, find it, and if we find aliens that help us get more meaning out of the universe, more power.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, thank you so much for coming on. It's a wild book, that is for sure.
Thanks for having me.
So, okay, we might not be ready to perhaps a more pressing concern is the United States government does say that no death is back after this.
Why we create from this morning on CNN, you'll see on the CNN app. Go ahead, write the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. For peace of mind, USPS Ground Advantage.
CID years, no walk in the park.
That's true.
But I say, this guy makes really self-injection.
Say, it's the first major innovation in CID treatment in over 30 years.
Extrahepatic improvement to significantly reduce the risk of symptoms getting worse.
And I can treat my CID with one weekly self-injection. Don't use if allergic to the ingredients. It can increase risk of infection and serious allergic infusion or injection-related reactions. It can help rival if you have rash, hives, swelling of the face, lips, throat, or tongue, breathing problems, low blood pressure, or fainting. Tell your doctor if you have infection or fever, high blood pressure, chills, or shiver, chest, stomach, or back pain, vaccinations, allergies, or kidney problems. Most common side effects with respiratory and urinary tract infections, headaches, and number one. Ask your neurologist about Vyvgart and Truvo for self-injection. Looking for a great real estate agent to help sell your home for top dollar? Go to Ready.com. On Ready, agents will pay you just for the opportunity to sell your home. Just give us your address and the best agents compete on Ready to be your agent. With cash up front just to win your business. Your listing is valuable. Don't give it away. Make those agents earn. Get paid to pick an agent. Go to Ready.com or call 888-481-REDY.
She's really getting it there.
Yeah, she is.
Don't feel your age. Act your age.
Constantly.
They tell you to optimize, to act, but what you were never wrong. On the collage, the first rule of life, reawakens for a new growth. 400 meters, 4 seconds, 1 delivery.
What's the secret to peak health? Having micro-wins. Micro-habits, micro-wins, even microdose GLP-1s.
I can lose 200 pounds in 30 days? Heck yeah!
Now starting at just $79.
John lives here with a lot, son. You'll become a maestro. Maestro of coffee.
Enjoy the pleasure of a masterfully crafted coffee and fill it in Italian barista with Lavazza. Maestro.
Taking one HIV pill a day doesn't seem like much, but how you take it every single day, over time, it started to add up. I was ready to let daily HIV pills go. That's why I chose long-acting Capital.
For adults who are undetectable, Avenue is the only complete HIV treatment designed to work continuously for up to 2 months. It's an injectable proven as effective as daily HIV pills. Don't take Avenue if allergic to its ingredients or taking certain medicine that may interact. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, post-injection reactions, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. Tell your doctor about your medicines or supplements, medical conditions, liver or kidney problems, mental health, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. The most common side effect is injection site reaction.
I chose the HIV treatment that stayed with me without daily pills.
Tell your doctor you're ready to switch to cabin bed.
As a neurologist, my patients are often concerned with age-related memory decline. I recommend $2 Brain Health with two powerful, high-absorption ingredients clinically shown to improve memory, focus, attention, and more. $2, the brand I trust.
Closed captioning brought to you by MessoBook.com. If you or a loved one have news of helium, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you at number 214,000.
A deadly Ebola outbreak is spreading in Africa, and a former U.S. health official points out it is happening in two African capitals with international airports and requires a quick and sure-handed response. Something you might have expected the U.S. to take the lead on just a few years ago, but as we learned during the Hunger virus situation, the U.S. is no longer taking the lead. A colleague, Adam Hankey, reports the Trump administration is urgently trying to fill empty spots, leading critical health agencies, CDC, and the FDA, not to mention the Office of Surgeon General. Another CNN colleague, Andrew Kaczynski, reports one of the top U.S. health officials in charge of infectious disease policy was, as of last year, a urologist specializing in penile implants and is also a COVID conspiracy theorist. Is this what Americans thought they were voting for? The idea is to look at lessons learned from the last pandemic and be more ready for the next one. An array of health officials are warning we are not ready. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us. Marie Sakari, takes 5 minutes.
Greg Ferguson, American on Purpose, 8:30 on CNN and next week on the CNN app. Vikings like to solve problems. The Viking way. But when it comes to Viking hands or Dupuytren's contraction, and you can't lay your hand flat, open a jar, know that surgery isn't the only option. Don't be a Viking. Request a modern, non-surgical treatment with minimal recovery time. If not offered, get a second opinion. Visit findahandspecialist.com.
On 3, Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to help people save money. 1, 2, 3. Nailed it.
Only pay for Chiina. Liberty.
Living with chronic migraine? 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine, and treatment is 4 times a year. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away. Trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history. Muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 91% of patients wish they started Botox sooner. Ask your doctor today. If eligible, you may be $0.
This isn't for show. This is America. We open our doors. We step out into our lawns. We do whatever the hell we want. We build. We burn. We party. We lie. We love. We learn. We cut it razor sharp. We keep it green. Because this isn't some royal palace. It's just soil, sweat, and 250 years in the American yard. So come around back. We'll show you what it's all about.
So Dale, you really need to get that colon cancer screen for one cancer screen. Dale, don't worry. You can do just the blood test.
Shield.
Okay, let's do it.
Shield is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shield from a company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade. Effective, healthy blood pressure support takes more than innovation. It takes vision. At Human, our plant-based supplements are scientifically formulated to support the center of your health. And at the center of your research is healthy blood pressure support from clinically studied grapeseed extract, sustainably sourced and studied plants, with delicious pomegranate berry flavor, supporting your blood pressure and heart health, and all the moments you're working for. Get started today at human.com.
Has united super deeper. And the pain that comes with it, it's a part of me, and I know how to manage it. With Benzilla, I'm back to fewer HS symptoms.
Only Gonzalez targets and blocks IL-17A plus F to calm inflammation. Many saw at least a 50% reduction, with some even seeing 75% reduction. Fast relief of HS symptoms from results that last, and many felt less pain. Serious side effects like suicidal thoughts and behavior, infections and low ability to fight them, liver problems, and inflammatory bowel disease occur. Tell your doctor if these happen or worsen, or fevers, chills, muscle aches, or cough occur, or you've had a vaccine or plan to. Before starting, get checked for infections, tuberculosis, and liver problems.
Start to say, I'm back to fewer HS symptoms.
Ask your dermatologist about it.
Excuse me. Do I know you? One have more sweet. Understand this isn't some movie about. This is GPS, the global public square. Welcome to all of you in the United States and around the world. I'm Tony Victoria, coming to you live from New York. Today on the program, Donald Trump goes to China. He was greeted and petted, and then no friends rarely visited by outsiders. But what was accomplished? Or maybe my take, and then again, two very different perspectives. Plus, we'll take a detailed look at what more administration has done to name our big economy. Jason Furman, former chair of the Council on Economic Advisors, will describe the challenge for the new Fed chairman. Also, Israel has achieved resounding military success in recent years, but it is using the war of public opinion, according to recent polls in America. I'll explore with the Israeli-American scholar Omar Weiner. But first, here's my take. The regular viewers know that I have not been a fan of Donald Trump's foreign policy in his second term. From threatening to seize Greenland and annex Canada, and unilaterally raising tariffs sky high, to the fiasco of the Iran war, Trump has been reckless, chaotic, and deeply destabilizing. But he might well turn out to have the right instincts and perhaps even the right policy in one crucial arena, the U.S.-China relationship. In Trump's recent interactions with Xi Jinping, we saw a version of him rarely on display. He was respectful, almost deferential, eager to emphasize a personal rapport. Xi, by contrast, remained formal, disciplined, and never especially warm. The asymmetry was revealing. Donald Trump is obsessed with power. More than ideology or values, of course, he thinks in terms of leverage and dominance. He insults European allies because he understands how dependent they remain on American military protection and access to U.S. markets. Trump senses weakness and exploits it. But with China, he has come to understand something that much of Washington still struggles to accept emotionally. Beijing has enormous strength of its own, economic, technological, industrial, and military, and can wield it effectively. So Trump has evolved from belligerence toward a more complicated mix of rivalry and cooperation. That may be what this relationship requires. Contrast Trump's visit with the first meeting of Biden officials with their Chinese counterparts in Anchorage in 2021. The Americans launched into a televised public scolding of China over human rights, cyber attacks, and the international order. China's diplomatic
centrist Democrats live in fear of being portrayed as soft on China. So they often overcompensate with targeting, adopting maximalist language and escalating symbolic confrontations. After showing skepticism toward Trump's China ties during the campaign, Joe Biden defended all of them in Clinton. Biden never visited China as president, nor did he invite Xi Jinping to Washington. The Biden team endorsed the claim, leveled by the first Trump administration, that China's actions in Xinjiang constituted genocide, a term that evokes industrial-scale extermination campaigns like the Holocaust or Rwanda. China's prison and re-education camps in Xinjiang are brutal and horrific, and WTO scholars have called its actions against the region a genocide. But as the Economist notes, it is not what most people think of when conjuring up the word genocide. Trump's superpower is that he cannot be attacked from the right. He came to power after the 2016 election, railing against Beijing, blaming it for lost manufacturing jobs, trade imbalance, and American industrial decline. In a sense, the analogy is not Nixon going to China, but rather Ronald Reagan, the Uber to the right of Nixon, going to the Soviet Union. Trump may be capable of a similar pivot precisely because his base will follow whatever he needs. One year ago, how quickly many MAGA figures reversed themselves on intervention in Iran once Trump signaled support for military action. Why would a more cooperative approach toward China make sense? Because the truth is that China is not the Soviet Union. The Soviet economy was smaller than Italy by the end of the Cold War by one UN measure. China, by contrast, is the world's second largest economy, the leading trading partner for more than 120 countries, and a technological powerhouse in fields ranging from electric vehicles and batteries to drones, advanced manufacturing, and even artificial intelligence. It produces more manufacturing output than the United States, Japan, and Germany put together. Trying to launch a full-scale Cold War against such a country would not resemble the struggle against Moscow, where the war was already divided. It would mean tearing apart the global economy itself. American consumers would face higher prices and supply shocks. U.S. companies would lose access to one of the world's largest markets. Universities would lose many top students. The danger would not simply be economic danger, it would be the creation of two hostile technological and geopolitical blocks spiraling toward increasing confrontation. Of course, the U.S. and China are rivals. That is unavoidable in a bipolar world. They will compete economically, militarily, and strategically for decades to come. But rivalry need not mean total rupture. In the weeks before he died, Henry Kissinger noted to me that leaders of both countries should keep in mind how, in 1914, nationalist competition, pursued with no concern about its consequences, led to a world war that upended the entire global order. In an age of AI, cyber warfare, and nuclear weapons, maintaining channels of dialogue and cooperation is more important than ever. The two countries should compete fiercely while still trading, talking, and collaborating where possible on nuclear stability, AI safety, pandemics, and financial crises. During the Cold War, Washington and Moscow maintained arms control talks even at moments of intense hostility, because both sides understood that unmanaged rivalry could end in disaster. That remains true today. And if Donald Trump, for reasons rooted less in philosophy than instinct, has come to recognize this basic reality, then on this issue of grief, his strategy makes sense. Go to readthecard.com for a link to my Washington Post column this week. And next on GPS, I'll talk more about the summit with two experts who have had very different views on the U.S.-China relationship. Stay with us.
Why are we dreaming? Put it this morning on CNN, next day on CNN.
Running a successful delivery company is taught me something. Growing is industry too. We have AT&T Business, and that's why we're the best.
Great.
You're aware that nothing here.
Yeah, but early. I like that. Get your signature there. You guys start that. Make some money, right?
Ah,
So this
You know, my mom still works out here. It's great.
Your mental health is better, but having uncontrollable body movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia, can feel embarrassing. I asked my doctor about treating my TD with Ingrezza. Number one prescribed Ingrezza reduced TD movements by greater than 10 times, with most seeing a response as early as 2 weeks. And you can keep taking those mental health meds.
Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden behavior, mood changes, or suicidal thoughts. Don't take Ingrezza if allergic. Serious side effects may include allergic reactions like sudden, potentially fatal swallowing of knives, sleepiness, the most common side effect, and heart-rate problems. Know how Ingrezza affects you before operating calm or dangerous machinery. Report fever, stiff muscles, or problems thinking. Disease might be life-threatening. Shaking, stiffness, drooling, trouble breathing, or balance may occur.
Taking control starts asking your doctor about Ingrezza.
You told the optimize. To act, there's always a promise of a better view. But what if you never meant to be fixed? Your biology knows how to cry out. It just needs a little more. Pharmacological reawakens that purpose 400 years. 4 seconds. 1 day at a time. This time, remember what you're doing. Progressively too easy to put commercial article online, so you can get back to all your other to-dos.
Didn't I say train?
This is better.
See if you can save money at progressivecommercial.com.
That's interesting.
Hi, I'm Ben Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck, cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about getting any rest? There's nothing cozy about airplane seats or hard plastic benches, and those so-called travel pillows, they just aren't right. You don't need another travel pillow. You need Be Cozy, the world's most comfortable neck pillow. Trapped in the middle seat, wrap Be Cozy around your neck and stop chin drop while we're nap. Smash it against the window, fold Be Cozy over and tuck it onto your shoulder for super size. Drink a flyer miles down the sitting aisle, turn Be Cozy to the side. Perfect pillow position. Everyone wants to be cozy, so get the world's most comfortable travel neck pillow and be cozy just like me. Ben Cozy. You get cozy. Everyone gets a Be Cozy. Only Be Cozy has patented overlapping arms so you get double support and the comfort you need in any seat on any trip. Go online right now and get this exclusive TV offer. Buy one Be Cozy, get one 50% off. Get yours now.
This isn't for show. This is America. We open our doors. It's about our wants. We do whatever the hell we want. We build. We burn. We work. We laugh. We love. We learn. We cut it razor sharp. We keep it green. Because this isn't some royal palace. It's just soil, sweat, and 250 years of the American yard. So come on back. We'll show you what it's all about.
I never thought I would develop shingles. I was wrong. I didn't know that 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles and it could reactivate.
Don't let the heart rate like I did. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Eucora, effective ingredients so you can get your life back.
My leg was constantly interrupted by peak until I found Eucora in Control, a supplement that reduces urgency, leaks, and bathroom trips. Try today at Eucora.com.
Donald Trump left China this week full of apparent good feelings for its Chinese leader Xi Jinping, but without giving concrete details on a number of issues like trade, tech, and Taiwan. Joining me now to discuss the summit, I'm Matthew Partington, former U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor and key point man on China in Donald Trump's first term, and Jessica Chen White, Professor of China Studies at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. Jessica, let me begin with you and asking what was notable to you about this summit? What did you see that was produced right?
Well, I think contra expectations that Xi Jinping was going to eat Trump's lunch. I actually think that the summit showed that what China really wants is stability, not to bury the United States with waste for hegemony. And that in fact, the priority that Xi
like they still want Trump as kind of Trojan horses. A deal on ships, a peace gesture on Taiwan, investment in U.S. manufacturing. But he didn't do any of those. Why did he? What's your read on this one?
Yeah, look, it's funny, you said at the top that the Nixon moment in China is the wrong analogy, and I think you're right about that. But what I think the correct analogy is Nixon's policy towards the Soviet Union. That was the détente policy that was, understandable at the time why we pursued détente vis-a-vis the Soviet Union. We were stuck in a war, we were losing in Vietnam. President Nixon wanted to go into talks on strategic arms limitation with the Soviets. So he went towards a more accommodating sort of posture towards the Soviets. And I think this was really a détente policy in both directions, from Beijing and from President Trump towards Beijing. The challenge is to not let that policy become a parody of itself over time, which is what happened to the détente policy in the 1970s. The Soviet Union used that time to basically run buck wild around the world. They were launching insurgencies in the Horn of Africa and Angola and across Latin America, even trying to start a revolution in Portugal. And so by the time the end of the 70s came around, the Carter administration, Brzezinski, saw the Soviets invade Afghanistan, and so that was the final nail in the coffin of détente. So détente became a parody of itself, and that's what we have to guard against this time.
Jessica, what do you make of that argument? That the Chinese are biding their time, building their strength, but they are continuing to build, military facilities in the South China Sea. They are continuing to increase the number of overflights to Taiwan and demand unification there. They are continuing to steal American intellectual property. In other words, there is a kind of underneath the data, there is a Chinese policy that is fairly aggressive.
I think it's quite clear that what China wants is to protect their sovereignty, to preserve the security of the Chinese Communist Party leadership, of Xi Jinping and Zhao, and to continue to develop this modern country that they have wanted. But I think the biggest threat here to détente is not that we actually get there, but that we fail to because of Trump's kind of volatile tendency to flip-flop, right? I mean, for example, after the summit, he said he welcomed Chinese investment and 500,000 Chinese students, but his policies, Republican Party policies, have been anything but welcoming. Trump has prioritized business deals over the kinds of economic gains that would make American lives more affordable. And then, on Taiwan, he's been highly erratic, and I think that the essence of preserving peace and stability is, calm, incredible assurances as well as threats. And he's, not going to call our credible, I think, on either score. In fact, we shouldn't be telling reporters that U.S. arms to Taiwan are a bargaining chip for economic or trade concessions. So I have a lot of questions about this, and I think that we do need a growing effort for reward for China, but whether he can get us there, I count me skeptical. And so before we dismiss the economy, we need to give it a shot.
Matt, give me your sense of Taiwan. You have briefed Trump many times on the issue, but I'm struck when I listened to him, and you saw that in that interview that Jessica was mentioning. You can tell he doesn't really think that this is a vital strategic interest to the United States. He said, look, it's 59 miles away for them, it's tens of thousands of miles away for us. And then he disparaged them and said, it's stolen our chip industry. That doesn't sound like a president who is going to come to Taiwan's aid. Don't you think?
Well, look, I think President Trump, from my previous opinion, the first administration, certainly I think he understood that it is a vital interest of the United States. If Taiwan were coercively annexed by the Chinese Communist Party, you could kiss goodbye most of President Trump's agenda, including allowing the United States to win the race in AI, and more than that, just to remain a technological superpower. And so what he's doing is trying to bring more of the chip manufacturing to the United States. That's a very wise policy, but it's going to take a lot longer than I think many people in the administration realize. So in the meantime, he's trying not to provoke, but so long as he continues to provide armaments for Taiwan's defense, continues to help Taiwan provide for itself, I think that we can maintain deterrence, and that's the name of the game.
Matt, what would you do about those armaments? Would you hold them up as he has and try to get the Chinese to give something in return for kind of canceling them, or would you just
No, I don't think. I know he used that phrase, but if you look at the policies he pursued in his first term and so far in this term, I think he's followed through on providing armaments. It would be a big mistake not to provide those armaments. Beijing would pocket that, and it would actually undermine the whole concept of peace and restraint, which applies to Taiwan just as much as it applies to the United States. They've got to be able to provide for the defense, and we are the lifeline for that. Since so many other countries are timid and unwilling to sell armaments to Taiwan. It's really important for Taiwan to spend more on its own defense as well, and build up its own defense industrial base. Taiwan should be like the dominant producer of drones. They've got all the expertise. They've got all of the technological supply chains right there in their home. But they need to spend more to actually build that out.
Just what do you make of the claim that Xi Jinping wants to annex Taiwan by 2027? My sense is that kind of misreading of what he said. He said he wanted the military modernized by 2027, and we can see by the chaos in the People's Liberation Army what he was talking about, but it wasn't a specific directive to be ready to take over Taiwan. Or am I misreading?
No, I very much agree. I don't think that he just set a deadline to take the island, and in fact, many estimates suggest that the wholesale purge of the military brass has set China's capabilities back by decades. And so this is not a conflict that I think either the United States or China are racing towards. And in fact, I think one of the hard truths that we need to face up to, both sides need to face up to, is that there is no military solution to this kind of political impasse, and that more sustained and safe diplomacy is the only way forward to preserve, as the Chinese said, the shared interest in peace and stability, across the Taiwan Strait. But while I think we often focus on the military dimension, I think it's really important that the stabilization of U.S.-China economic ties is actually a critical component to China's belief that it can wait on the Taiwan issue. That in fact, that kind of belief that China is on China's side, that China will become more developed over time, the situation will resolve itself, is actually critical to deterrence. And so one of the reasons why, despite my critiques of how Trump has gone about this, I think it is really important that we find a more stable floor for a mutually beneficial economic trade and investment ties between the United States and China.
Matt, I've got 30 seconds, but I do want to hear you on. Basically, how disappointed are you? Was this as Jessica says, we created a new stable relationship, or have we been routed in complacency and the Chinese?
No, like I said, it's a economic policy. President Trump has got a lot going on right now with Venezuela, potentially Cuba, a war in Orient. So it makes sense that he would sequence his strategy. The traps that he's got to avoid are allowing Chinese investment in the United States. By the way, France just released a report called the Chinese Steamroller, showing that Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe has destroyed jobs, not creating. This isn't Japan, okay? This is a predatory system. So he's got to avoid that trap. He's got to also avoid giving China a leg up on AI. If he does those things, we're going to be just fine.
I think that we got to translate not just against Chinese companies who are in many cases out in front of the United States on EVs, robotics, etc. So just keeping them out isn't the solution to getting ahead.
All right, we will have to have this conversation again, but I very much want to both of you. Just terrific. Thank you for your perspective. Next up on GPS, inflation is spiking in the U.S. How much of this is due to Iran, and what will happen? Jason Furman up next.
The general meltdown until I don't see them, and the next day I'll be seeing them back.
I thought people exaggerated about the pain from shingles.
I was wrong. I learned that the hard way.
But you don't have to. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
Got my hands on the new Soto stove, still fire, 22 grill, which thing goes from zero to sear in like 7 minutes. Wow. It's stainless too, so no worrying about rust. It's cook, clean up, and mad easy. Now outside cooking, it's sweet next to.
HIV doesn't have to change who you are or your life. Believe it? Be it. Biktarvy is a complete one pill once a day treatment used for HIV in many people wasn't just starting or replacing your corrections. Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to undetectable behavior. Research shows that taking HIV treatments prescribed and ended to stay undetectable prevents transmitting HIV through sex. Whether you're 18 or 80, Biktarvy is tried and tested with the human body.
Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include overload, lactic acid, and liver problems. Don't take your target if you take a red light or rebecca. Tell your healthcare provider about all the medicines and supplements you take. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding or have kidney or liver problems. If you have hepatitis B, don't stop taking your target without talking to your healthcare provider. Common side effects with diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
Ask your healthcare provider about Biktarvy, the #1 prescribed HIV treatment. Believe it. Be it. Biktarvy. Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings at Harbor Freight. This weekend, get a 3 5-gallon bucket when you spend $29.99 in store. I'm seeing more and more people in their 40s and even in their 30s starting to prioritize cholesterol health. They're doing what they can to diet and exercise, but want something more. Human cholesterol health is that something more. A multi-attribute plant-based ingredients backed by 3 clinical studies that demonstrate real, measurable support for cholesterol and vascular health. Founded in partnership with the University of Texas, this is modern day cholesterol support I wish more people knew about. Only you.
Dear Dr. Kelly, I used to think I was never meant to be beautiful. I was teased because of my teeth. I felt like the person would think I need to get a mirror. I never thought I could afford these implants. You and your team worked within my budget and helped me feel comfortable in the family made together. I love how you smile. Thank you.
Congratulations, Cynthia. Introducing our new lifetime warranty on zirconia options, only at Clear Choice. Call to schedule a free consultation.
Did you know you can relieve everyday aches and pains with odor-free Aspartame? Maximum blood pain carpet clears fast for soothing and wonder pain relief. Try Aspartame, the #1 pharmacist recommended topical anesthetic.
Because getting home late gets you that look. Get more love than humanly possible when you feed the Hill's scientifically proven formula. Because you're only human. There's Hills.
We have so many choices in this single day. Now we show up for others. Now we show up for ourselves. We get to choose, and success looks up to us. Or we feel that fits the life you live. It is me.
Hey, why are the dishes always being water sports? Hey, Connor,
Or you got what? We got you.
request your free in-home water test at Pelican.com.
According to the Consumer Price Index data, U.S. inflation rose to 3.8% in April. That's the highest rate of inflation in almost 3 years, in part due to the Iran war. Americans are feeling economic pain. Meanwhile, the stock market has kept going up. What should we make of all this? Joining me now is Jason Furman, the professor at Harvard Kennedy School and the former chair of the Council on Economic Advisors under President Obama. Jason, thanks for coming. Just first explain to us, how significant is the rise in inflation? And let's take a kind of a best case scenario, which is the Iran war is resolved in, say, let's say 6 weeks. Does it persist or does it rapidly come down?
Yeah, so Marie, you have to understand there's
two big things going on in the economy right now. One of them is the Iran war. The second is the enormous demand from the AI build-out. Both of those are adding to inflation. One of them is helping the economy, one of them is hurting the economy. So they're canceling out to a draw when it comes to something like the unemployment rate. When you're thinking about inflation going forward, the Iran war part of it could probably be transitory. But I say probably because it depends on the degree to which it gets built into people's expectations. The AI build out and the extra demand from that actually might have more of a permanent component to it.
So when you look at the micro data in the U.S. economy, earnings, and not just of AI companies, but earnings in general, very strong. The stock market keeps going up. Unemployment rate is still very, very low. I guess it's not my case. I'm going to make some data points to be very positive. And then you look at inflation, you look at consumer sentiment is very bad. What is the picture of the economy? I saw somebody say U.S. economy is weak in every way except there is one massive bet on artificial intelligence, which is keeping it going.
Yeah, I think that's about right. A really disproportionate share of our economic growth over the last year has come from that one sector, from building data centers, from building the power that they need. And you can look at different parts of financial markets and they tell you about different parts of the economy. So the stock market tells you what to expect corporate earnings to be, but it also tells you about risk inflation. It's all bundled together. And on balance, the higher expected earnings are dominating everything else. That's why it's done well. But then look over at the bond market. That doesn't care about corporate earnings. All it really cares about is risk, expected inflation, those types of things. It's a really pure measure of that. And interest rates are incredibly high. They rose a lot over the last week. The 30-year is the highest in nearly 2 decades. And you're going to start to see that, by the way, in mortgage rates. So it's going to be really concrete and tangible for American families.
So in the 1970s, we had an energy war. We had energy prices go up by a lot more. Energy prices tripled after the oil price crisis. And we had a president, Richard Nixon, who bullied the Fed chairman to lower interest rates. At that time, the Fed chairman, Arthur Burns, agreed to be bullied. And the result was we got a combination of slow growth and high inflation, which people call stagflation. What's the danger of something like that happening this time around?
Look, I think it's a danger. It's one I'm going to be watching closely and certainly commenting on and warning if I see it materialize. But right now, I'm cautiously optimistic. The incoming chair, Kevin Warsh, I didn't love everything he said to get the job, but he's a serious person. He's going to care about his standing in history. I don't think he's going to want to badly mess things up. And the other thing to understand, interest rates are set by a committee of 12 people. It's a majority vote. The chair is 1 out of 12 votes. And right now, the committee is thinking in a very independent way. The last meeting, 4 different members dissented. And so I don't think the chair can walk in there and say, here's what Donald Trump wants, here's what we're going to do. He's going to have analytically persuasive arguments, or the committee's just going to say, no, we're going to vote on something else. So I think there's some real checks and balances there. I feel okay about it, but I don't feel 100%, so I'll be watching carefully.
Quickly, we don't have a lot of time, but Kevin Warsh struck me most of his life as an inflation hawk. When you were in the White House, he was assailing you guys. He would say there was too much quantitative easing, the Fed was being, essentially too dovish. It feels like he's somewhat convinced Trump he's dovish on inflation. Do you share my view? Underneath there's somebody who's generally speaking wanted rates higher for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's right. And look, Donald Trump, I think, was nervous about this. He probably would have named him a year ago if he thought he would do this thing. But I think what was going through his head is this is a credible person, financial markets respect him, but I'm nervous that he's too independent
highly trained, clears morning on CNN next day on CNN. But we know life without the best smile, the time, the cost, the anxiety. That's why Aspen Dental is changing how dentistry is done, with technology to make care comfortable and flexible hours to fit your life, all at an affordable price. New patients without insurance get an exam and x-rays for just $29. Not waiting for tomorrow. That's the Aspen Dental difference. Aspen Dental. It's time to smile again. Total Beats, America's best-selling Beats brand, is available at Walmart. Total Beats blood pressure support soft chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to deliver 2 times better blood pressure support. Take control of your health. Head to Walmart and get Total Beats blood pressure support soft chews today.
Popular cooking on the timeline? Well, they're getting warmed up.
Surprise! DirecTV got hot. We are what, high school?
Not my high school. I ain't in high school.
Anyway, never been easy to keep up with your favorite sports on live TV and streaming apps. So,
Wait, no, I think first. I'll never run a perfect at that.
at most 20 park stores, you'll find a magical hidden door that leads to something rather amazing. An eye exam. And behind every great exam is a friendly eye doctor. Book your appointment today.
Like a relentless bleed. Moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back.
Work away as much as possible with Joe Biden.
The only IL-23 blocker for Crohn's and UC to offer self-administration from the start.
Joe Biden can help with symptom relief as early as 4 weeks, remission at 12 weeks, 1 year, and 2 years.
Some have visible repair of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Break away with Kimfire.
Backed by over 15 years of clinical research. Ask your doctor about your body today. Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings, Harbor Freight. This weekend, get a 35-gallon bucket and you spend $29.99 in store.
CID years, no walk in the park.
That's true.
But I take good makes for little self-injection.
Say, it's the first major innovation in CID treatment in over 30 years.
And my True has been proven to significantly reduce the risk of symptoms getting worse.
And I can treat my CID with one weekly self-injection.
Don't use if allergic to the ingredients. It can increase risk of infection and serious allergic infusion or injection-related reactions. It can help right away if you have rash, hives, swelling of the face, lips, throat, or tongue, breathing problems, low blood pressure, or pain. Tell your doctor if you have infection or fever, high blood pressure, chills, or shiver, chest, stomach, or back pain, vaccinations, allergies, or kidney problems. Most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
I'm hitting fairways with the film. I'm hitting the road, my number one. That's how we live it. Just like high school.
Ask your neurologist about Midgard and Trulo for self-injection.
Your tools are optimized. To have, there's always a promise of a better deal. But what few recommend to fix. Your biology knows how to thrive. It just needs a moment. Pharmacological reawakens that purpose for 400 nutrients. More seconds. One day to life. This time, rememberable treatment.
American public perceptions of Israel seem to be shifting sharply. In 2022, before the October 7 attacks and the war that ensued, 42% of American adults had an unfavorable view of Israel. Today, just 4 years later, that number is up to 60% according to recent Pew Research poll. And for Americans under the age of 50, that number is even higher. 70% of that population had an unfavorable view of Israel in 2022, up from around 50%, same group in 2022. Joining me now is the Israeli American historian Thank you for having me. So what I want to first focus on is the answer to your question, because for you, both personally and professionally, do you think that Israel took a wrong turn on two dimensions, or one of them is the historical one? Explain what it is, what did go wrong? Right, so what interests me most is how valuable, which was an ideology of liberation and emancipation for the Jewish minority, 80% of what Jews who lived in East Central Europe and came under increasing pressure from nationalism, ethno-nationalism, and emerging anti-Semitism in mind, a movement that said, well, let's define the Jewish people as well as a nation and find a place for them, where they would be majority, not a state of their own. How that movement, especially after 1948, becomes something else, becomes a state ideology that increasingly becomes militaristic, expansionist, violent, and nationalist, racist, Jewish supremacist, and genocide, Gaza also genocidal. How did that happen? And I try to, there are many answers to this, but I would say that the most important moment is what happens in 1948 itself, with the establishment of the state, when Zionism changes from being having these two faces, one of liberation from oppression, and the other having the state ideology of occupation and oppression process. So a lot of people would push back and say that in a sense you do have it right, but what you want is the Jews to be permanent victims. That when you look at Jews with power, with a huge army, with a successful country that is, outperforming others, that you're deeply uncomfortable with that. That there is a certain strain of the Israeli left that just doesn't like a very powerful Israel. One could make that argument. That's still the way I look at it. And what's so interesting is because Israel is that the more powerful it became, especially after the war of 1973, Israel became exaggerated in its region, became the most powerful country in the region, not least because of North American support as well. And it's during that period that the Holocaust, that Israel sees the ancestors after 1948, becomes not only something that you need to remember and commemorate and study and research, but also meaning in the country itself, its self-perception of a society, a state that is under invasion. And that creates in Israel a sense that any danger, any threat, and most of the threats are coming to the people that are occupied, maybe with destruction. And because of that, it begins giving an infinite license to respond with any kind of violence that seems appropriate. You also say that the Holocaust is one part of it, and then the occupation has changed Israel. Explain what you mean. One has to remember that since 1967, when I was 13 years old, to now, when I'm 72, Israel has been in occupying power. Half of the population under Israeli control, and it's just basically one state from the river to the sea. People living there in different regimes. Half of the population, now 7 million Jews, rule over 7 million Palestinians. That process of ruling over people so long in such great proximity has done something that when I was a teenager and protesting against the young occupation, we used to say occupation corrupt. We didn't quite know how much it was corrupt and how long it could last. It corrupts society. You dehumanize the people you occupy. You have to, because why are you occupying them? Why are you crossing over them? And that dehumanization of those you're ruling over begins a process of dehumanizing you as a society. Next argument is, former Bible critics say that he doesn't really consider
official new year for tool people. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings, however free. This weekend, get a 35-gallon bucket and you spend $29.99 in store.
GM Plus compliance is goals. But what goes on the silent? What's new? Your GLP-1s are paired with personalized plans, so you can lose the weight and keep it off. Get started now for $79. She's really gonna live there. Yeah, she is. Don't feel your age. Act your age. That's the thing. Why can't psoriasis just leave you alone? The inflammation inside. This on the outside. The pills and creams haven't done enough for me. I can feel the sears. Hear the whispers. I'm done. So done. Talk to your dermatologist about your psoriasis symptoms and treatment options. Go to SoDone.com.
When we started working harder, we just sold glasses. And only online. But people like them. A lot. So we offered more things. Like sunglasses and contacts. And then we thought, what if we sold eyewear online and in stores? So we did that. And now we have stores in neighborhoods all over. There you can chat with friendly opticians and get eye exams from top-notch doctors. Now, no matter where you go, we've got your eyes covered.
So Dale, you really need to get that colon cancer screen. Dale, don't worry. You can do just the blood test. Shield.
Okay, let's do it.
Shield is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shield from the company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade. Effective, healthy blood pressure support takes more than innovation. It takes vision. At Chiina, our plant-based supplements are scientifically formulated to support the center of your health. And at the center of these packages, healthy blood pressure support with clinically studied fragrance extract, sustainably sourced and studied fragrance, with delicious pomegranate berry flavors, supporting your blood pressure and heart health, and all the moments your heart beats for. Get started today at Chiina.com.
She was a known by everyone, except the cat. Until she tried Chiina, not to it all.
Try the new Chips Ahoy Crunchy Red, White, and Blue Candy Blast. Because there are good times. And there are bad times. Give more love than humanly possible when you feed the Hill's scientifically proven formula. Because you're only human, there's Hill's.
It is time, but often meat is just the narrow and takes through routine. Every master must find his path. I am the true warrior.
Memorial Day deals start now at the Home Depot. So whether you're working on a getaway just for you, or a space to celebrate with friends, you're getting everything you need. Low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot.
CNN is saving me about the country to see what it means to be an American today. What could possibly go wrong?
Greg Ferguson, American on Purpose. Victory on CNN and next day on the CNN app. Closed captioning brought to you by VesselBook.com.
If you or a loved one have music in your life, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you. 800-821-4000.
And we are back with Israeli American historian Omar Batar. He is the Dean's Professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies at Brown and has a new book out, Israel, What Went Wrong. What I was wondering is, when I talked to about you and your sort of Jewish friends of mine, well, honestly, it doesn't really take into account the Israeli narrative of what happened. The Israeli narrative, I would say, is that yes, the occupation not as the tough guy who's doing what the strong often do. Let's start with the neighborhood. Israel's neighborhood has wanted to have peace with it for a long time. Israel has peace with Israel, has peace with Jordan. Saudi Arabia proposed peace with Israel 20 years ago. So it isn't that Israel is actually a neighborhood that wants to destroy it. It's a neighborhood that wants to work with it. No, from that point of view. But because Israel is a strong country, it has a very, very strong ally that all those other exterior Arab countries would like to work with. So that's the one myth that is propagated by many Israel defenders. As for the relationship with Palestinians, the last serious attempt to bring down the settlement with the Palestinians was under Fatah. It was partial. Of the Oslo Accord of early 1990. It was partial. Israel never agreed to go back to the issue of 1948. So, beginning in 1967, we have to resolve the issue of occupation. But we understood that the occupation was corrupting the great society, and we accepted that. And what we could also was partial, was not the best solution, but please stay with negotiation. There were two other financial agreements. Yes, yes. What else I'm trying to do is to say to the president, here is what you can have. Take it with you. Again, there was no talk about the core issue that is at the basis of the Israeli-Palestinian relation. We have to remember, during the war of 1948, most of the Palestinians, the Israel was preparing to say that 750,000 were kicked out, were expelled, often very violently, in many places it was massacred, far more documented now than during the time. That is the core issue. How does Israel come to terms with the way that it was created in a way that would make it possible for Jews and Palestinians who are equally living between the river and the sea to share that space?
Let me ask you about the rise of anti-Semitism, in particular in the West. It does feel like, I mean, it's one thing to protest the Israeli government, but then now you go to the synagogue. The attacks on synagogues and communities, and they often seem to
I would never defend any of those attacks of Jews. There have been attacks of Jews, sometimes by anti-Semitic white supremacists, and sometimes by people who trace themselves to Arab or Palestinian or Muslim descendants from Australia and America. You can never defend that. That's criminal. What I'm saying is that the actions that Israel is taking and the fact that Israel claims to be the representative of Jews around the world, why is exercising so much violence against Palestinians, has actually played into their narrative. That is that people associate Jews with the actions of Israel. Israel has, I think, triggered to the rise of actual anti-Semitism.
I assume you've lost a lot of friends in Israel for what you're writing and speaking.
Look, I mean, I don't know. When you do something, don't necessarily tell you that you lost them. I know some cases. I think many of the people I know in Israel, they're mostly apathetic. They are reluctant to talk about it. And that's what is troubling me most. Yes, I don't want to lose my friends. They've been my friends for 50 and 55 years. But what is troubling me most is that on the part of the Israeli right, in which is undermining the violence, the majority of the Israeli population has become, is living in denial, has become resistant to what is carried out in its name by some people, often children of people our age, who were transgender soldiers and reservists, and people don't want to talk about it. They would like to wake up one morning and just to hear that the Palestinians is gone. That is deeply troubling to me about the society that has grew up in.
About it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, all of you for being part of my program. I will see you next week.
Fred Ferguson
Classic American on Purpose. 8:30 on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Spring, the unofficial new year for fuel people. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings at Harbor Freight. This weekend, get a 35-gallon bucket when you spend $29.99 in store.
Force Factor Hair Growth Accelerator promotes thicker, fuller, healthier hair in just 3 weeks. Hair Growth Accelerator contains a clinically studied key ingredient that quickly accelerates hair growth and reduces fine lines and wrinkles. Search Amazon now for Force Factor Hair Growth Accelerator.
Old banks get you with 50 needs. Cut time, healthy bank, be free, and gluten free. And delivery. Even monthly bills and free services. Parking in the Highway Cities County. Voila, go on vacation. And that is cashback too. Now back the away. John is America's #1 choice for bank. You hope to optimize. To happen, there's always a promise of a better view. But what if you ever meant to fix? Your biology knows how to thrive. It just needs a moment. Pharmacological reawakens that purpose. 400 nutrients. 4 seconds. 1 daily impact. This time, remember what you're making.
I thought it was just a fatty liver, but it's actually MASH. It's serious. It's scarring out liver and it requires more than losing weight.
This defect is unique for MASH, with minor to advanced liver scarring without cirrhosis, along with diet and exercise. It has accelerated FDA approval. Studies are ongoing to confirm benefit. Owning this differ works directly in the liver. It helps reduce MASH and liver scarring.
Before taking, tell your doctor about liver or gallbladder problems, or if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or plan to be. Serious side effects include liver injury, gallstones, gallbladder pancreas inflammation. Stop taking and call your doctor about tiredness, nausea, vomiting, fever, rash, yellowing of your skin or eyes, stomach pain. Tell your doctor if taking Fibrozil, coconut root, or statins. Side effects include diarrhea, itching, dizziness, constipation.
Resticra made a difference for me.
Ask your liver specialist for Resticra.
This isn't for show. This is America. We open our doors. Just about our lawns. We do whatever the hell we want. We build. We learn. We market. We laugh. We love. We learn. We cut it good to sharp. We keep it green. Because this isn't some royal palace. It's just soil, sweat, and 250 years of the American yard. So come on back. We'll show you what it's all about.
This summer, make a splash with my cereal. Welcome to the outer rim. Welcome to the Mazda PX50 hybrid. Spending ad dollars on leads that don't lead to revenue? That's like blowing budget on furniture that's all flair, no function. Instead, get the highest return on ad spend and your ad networks. Cut the full spend. Advertise on LinkedIn.
So I wanted to go into something that would be rewarding as a second career for myself, but also that would allow me to be my own boss.
Match day. Let's go. Chiina White. Yes, Queen.
Tom's stealing our treats again.
Tic Tac. Buy an Acer Ferrero Grants for your chance to win $1 million.
I'm going to South Korea. Maybe I have a small nation, confident in the world of its culture.
I tell your mom.
Get everything. Now streaming on the CNN app.
Happening right now, President Trump's revenge tour claims his first U.S. Senate casualty as Republican incumbent Bill Cassidy loses his primary race to two MAGA-friendly candidates. And right now, crowds are gathered at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. for an all-day prayer event. Concerned about blurred lines between the separation of church and state were live in Washington. Plus, for citing the potential for severe weather in the central U.S. to show you which areas are at the highest risk. Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me this Sunday afternoon with you. Begin with a stunning political upset. Sitting Republican U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy facing the wrath of President Trump. Cassidy received a rebuke from Louisiana voters with Saturday's Senate primary. Cassidy, who voted to convict Trump for the January 6th attack in Trump's second impeachment trial, finished at a distant third behind two MAGA-friendly challengers. Trump-backed Congresswoman Julia Letlow and State Treasurer John Fleming will advance to a June runoff after failing to get more than 50% of the vote. Letlow, boosted by Trump's endorsement, praised the president last night in a speech to her supporters.
I want to say thank you to a very special man who you all know, the best president this country has ever had, President Donald Trump. People ask me all the time, why would you put your family through this? Why would you elect to have $26 million spent in negative ads against you? Again, that's another testament to the president's endorsement, how powerful it is in Louisiana, that we were still able to garner 45% of the vote despite our negativity.
I want to bring in now Chiina's Patrick Speedtech and Elliot Green. They're covering this from all angles. Patrick, will start with you. How is Cassidy responding after this stunning loss?
Well, Cassidy gave a concession speech last night in which he repeatedly offered what appeared to be thinly veiled criticisms of the president. He didn't mention Trump by name, but he talked about his vision of leadership and that the United States needs more leaders who are looking out for the American people and not for themselves. He also talked about, for example, how when you lose an election, you accept defeat. You don't try to dispute the results, against the fact. Trump. And so this all raises the question now of just how politically unleashed Bill Cassidy may be in his final months in the Senate.
All right, all good points there, Patrick. Thanks so much. Let's go to the White House now and Elliot Green. Is there a response coming from the White House about this victory for his endorsed candidate?
Yeah, look, President Trump eager last night to come out and kind of take a victory lap.
To move forward. I want to read for you what he posted on Truth Social. He wrote, quote, Bill Cassidy, after falsely using his relationship with me during his political career and winning elections because of it, voted to impeach me on preposterous charges that were fake then and now and are criminally insane. His loyalty to the man who got him elected is now a part of legend, and it's nice to see that his political career is over. Look, I think what this shows is that if you are a Republican who really now is kind of, the Republican Party is mainly the party of Trump. If you're a Republican who crosses the president, he is going to do what he can to kind of take you out and end your political career. That's exactly what we saw with Cassidy. Of course, Cassidy's cardinal sin was him voting to impeach the president after what happened on the Capitol on January 6th back in 2021. Now, I will say that all of this criticism and fire from the president and some of his political allies for Cassidy comes despite the senator doing a lot of work, putting a lot of effort into trying to kind of get back into the good graces of the MAGA movement in the 18 months since President Trump was reelected for his second term. That includes Cassidy voting to confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as HHS Secretary, despite Cassidy, who was a doctor before becoming a senator, having a lot of misgivings about Kennedy's views on vaccine policy. So all to say, look, I think this is one effort of, we keep calling it a revenge tour, but we are seeing the president try to deploy similar tactics against Congressman Thomas Massey, who has a primary in Kentucky on Tuesday. Of course, Trump angry with Massey for some of the votes that he has taken against what Trump has supported, policies the president has supported. So, look, he was successful with trying to push Cassidy out of the race. We'll have to see what happens on Tuesday with Massey. Right? All right, Elena Green and the White House, thanks so much. Listen to Senator Cassidy and his concession speech from last night.
participate in democracy. And when you participate in democracy, sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. But you don't act, you don't lie, you don't claim that the election was stolen, you don't find a reason. You don't manufacture some excuse. You thank the voters for the privilege of representing your state or the country for as long as you've had that privilege.
And Patrick mentioned, it'll be interesting to see what kind of messaging, he parlays in his last few months in office. But then one has to wonder if the Republican Party as a whole is listening to any of his message, starting with what he said last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was very telling when he talked about claiming the election is stolen. You immediately heard cheers from his supporters. Again, he didn't mention Trump, but his supporters, I think a lot of people in politics knew exactly who he was speaking about at multiple points throughout that speech last night. And we have seen before, particularly in the Senate, when Republican incumbents decide not to seek re-election, not to have to face primary voters again, how they can be more candid and openly critical of Trump and their party. One of the most recent examples is North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis, who was, getting ready to run for re-election and have not only a tough primary but a tough general election in North Carolina. And amid his differences with the president, decided not to seek re-election. And since then, I think we can all agree he's been more outspoken and just candid about the state of his party and lamenting Trump's hold over it. And so the big question right now is Cassidy going to go that way? And if you just listen to that speech last night, it seems like that's the way he's leaning.
Yeah, maybe the prelude to that. All right, thank you so much, Patrick. Speech Tech, appreciate it. Are happening right now. Clouds of people are gathered on the National Mall in the nation's capital for a day-long prayer event, marking America's 250th birthday. The White House backed celebration dubbed Rededicate 250, a national jubilee of prayer, praise, and thanksgiving. It is funded through a mix of taxpayer dollars and private donations, and it's raising some questions and constitutional concerns. CNN's correspondent Dave Cohen is out on the National Mall waiting to tell us more about this event. And because many people are there concerns among those members in the crowd about the separation of church and state?
Well, I'll tell you off the bat, we've talked to several of you who were in the crowd who did not exactly share those concerns. Just to set the scene for you a little bit, we're about halfway through this program, what's really been an evangelical Christian program thus far. We have just heard from Senator King Scott. I want to pan off and actually give you a sense of the crowd here on the National Mall. People who talk to so many of them, they came from all over the country because they wanted to be part of this event that the White House billed as really a revitalization of faith and religion in the United States, getting back to the roots of the forefathers. And I want you to listen to what one of them told me about why he came up from Mississippi to be here.
God, this is the only country we have in America again. And solving dozens of our most closed summer.
But as you mentioned, there have obviously been so many critics who say that this is really promoting Christian nationalism in this country, blurring the line of separation of church and state, who think that, first of all, the vast majority of the speakers who are here today are Protestant Christians, a couple of Catholic bishops, as well as one conservative Orthodox rabbi. And as you mentioned, there are those scholars who not only question how the Trump administration has handled religion and Christianity
A knife-wielding man rams his car into a crowd in Italy, then goes on a stabbing attack. How bystanders jumped in to stop the violence. And a CNN exclusive investigation, the rising death toll at ICE detention centers, and one family's desperate search for answers.
There would be several things. Make the whole matter someone.
Disaster at the general meltdown is not about CNN and you stay on the same path. We know why you put off your best smile. The time, the cost, the anxiety. That's why Aspen Dental is changing how dentistry is done. With technology to make care comfortable. And flexible hours to fit your life. All at an affordable price. New patients without insurance get an exam and x-rays for just $29. Not waiting for tomorrow. That's the Aspen Dental difference. Aspen Dental. It's time to smile again.
Plus an extra game?
Oh, with SoFi Plus, you get up to $1,000 plus in annual value. And SoFi Bank's game changer savings if you watch.
Why do I help you? To find the official bank of the NBA is on epic APY and SoFi Plus.
Cholesterol support shouldn't stop at diet and exercise. Meet human cholesterol elevate. The only cholesterol support supplements combined into unique clinically studied forms and ingredients. Game-changing cholesterol support. Now available at your nearest Walmart.
So Dale, you really need to get that colon cancer screen from one cancer. Dale, don't worry. We can do just a blood test. Shield.
Okay, let's do it.
Shield is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shield from the company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade.
All right, so that's one pair of glasses.
Yep.
With prescription optics. Plus anti-reflective lens coating. Oh, scratch-resistant coating.
Good night, shoes.
UV protection. Oh, we're gonna need customer service. That's also me. Free returns, free exchanges, and free frame adjustments for legs.
How much more is that?
Oh, it's all included in one price.
So my glasses.
Our such as $75.
Oh,
Surprise! I just got excited. Teens share everything, but for certain everyday behaviors, it could also be sharing bacteria that can cause meningitis. Even if your teen has been vaccinated in the past, they could be missing vaccinations recommended by the CDC against certain groups of meningitis. Although uncommon, it is a serious disease. Once symptoms appear, death can occur, sometimes within 24 hours. About 1 in 10 will die. Is your teen missing vaccination against certain groups of meningitis? Ask their doctor today.
All the plants your yard needs, without the hassle. That's what FastGrowingTrees.com delivers. And every tree comes with our Live and Thrive guarantee. Get the plants you want and the results you'll love. See now at FastGrowingTrees.com. HIV doesn't have to change who you are or your place. Believe it? Be it. Big Harmony is a complete one-pill, once-a-day treatment used for HIV in new people, whether you're just starting or replacing your current treatment. Big Harmony fights HIV to help you get to undetectable behavior. Research shows that taking HIV treatments prescribed and getting to and staying undetectable prevents transmitting HIV through sex. Whether you're 18 or 80, Big Harmony is tried and tested with a human body.
Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include multiple lactic acid and liver problems. Don't take the target if you take your Medline or Movement. Tell your healthcare provider about all the medicines and supplements you take. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding or have kidney or liver problems, if you have hepatitis B, don't stop taking your target without talking to your healthcare provider. Common side effects will diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
Ask your healthcare provider about your target, the number one prescribed HIV treatment. Believe it. Be it. Big Harmony. Spring, the unofficial new year for cool people. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings at Harbor Freight. This weekend, get a free 5-gallon bucket when you spend $29.99 in the store.
Name's Stony Micro. Micro habits, micro names, microdose, GLP-1. I'm stuck! Mary won't budge. Being there, but New can help.
Get started at new.com. The idea that the Late Show franchise is ending is a really big deal.
We are heading down a dangerous path. I don't think that's the last we've ever seen. Relax. See, Chiina Gomez tonight at 8 on CNN.
All right, new today, President Trump issued a new warning to Iran, saying in a social media post that, quote, the clock is ticking. Comment comes shortly after a spokesman for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told CNN that he held phone calls with President Trump. CNN's Orient is in Jerusalem. Orient, Dave, how much do we know about this conversation?
Not too much at this point, other than the fact that it happened as of right now. It's very safe to assume that they discussed Iran, where this goes from here. President Donald Trump, of course, is weighing options, whether it continue pursuing diplomacy or whether to return to military strikes, even as it remains unclear what exactly those strikes would conclude or what they could accomplish. Because for weeks of targeting Iran, going after its military and the Iranian regime, they haven't bowed to American demands or sort of come to terms of surrender. Trump is clearly growing impatient, at least from what he's posted on social media. He said on his Truth Social, for Iran, the clock is ticking, and they better be moving fast, or there won't be anything left of them. Time is of the essence, President DJT. Now, we've seen these sorts of threats from Trump before, threats to open the Strait of Hormuz in 48 hours. That hasn't happened. But there is a sense that Trump is running out of patience and may relaunch strikes against Iran. Israel, of course, is waiting for that opportunity. Israel expected the talks would fall apart. Pakistan, who was acted as the mediator here, their interior minister was in Iran holding meetings with the Iranian president as well as the speaker of their parliament, Mohammed Jalibaf, who was acted as the chief negotiator. But it's unclear that those led anywhere or that they offer a real path forward for diplomacy here, as we wait to see that where we go, what Trump will decide to do.
Pakistan's Interior Minister was in Iran for talk today after President Trump's summit in China last week. Any progress on negotiations between Iran and the U.S.?
Frankly, it doesn't look like it. The gaps remain too wide and too large to bridge. Certainly to bridge quickly in the timeline that it seems Trump is looking for here. And there's nothing on the schedule, at least nothing we're aware of right now, in terms of getting the sides back to Pakistan at the same time to continue negotiations. So diplomacy, at least from where we sit right now, looks very unlikely at this moment.
And then Iran is seeking another way to monetize their control of the Strait of Hormuz by charging for the use of internet cables in the strait. What do we know about that?
Before the war, the drone was considered an outrageous idea. But now that Iran believes it has control of the Strait of Hormuz and has effectively blockaded the Strait of Hormuz and much of the world's oil is supposed to be going through there, they have now issued sort of another threat through state media as well as, for example, the Iraqi military spokesperson on social media. The idea that they would charge tech companies for the usage of the undersea cables that go through the Strait of Hormuz. Companies like Microsoft, Google, and other major companies. First, I think it's obvious to say that this is unacceptable not only to those companies, but also to, frankly, the rest of the world. Second, it's unclear how they would actually do this. There are sanctions in place against Iran that would prevent any of these companies from paying any sort of fee that Iran tries to charge. Nevertheless, Iran now knows that they can blockade the strait and could use or try to press the undersea cables in some way that carry through them from the Gulf to Europe and Asia some of the world's most critical information. So if Iran believes it can threaten that, if Iran can actually carry out sabotage of those cables, that is an incredibly serious threat and one that makes diplomacy once again hard.
All right, Orient Lieberman in Jerusalem, thanks so much. All right, coming up, record turnout in battleground Georgia. Voters flooded the polls before Tuesday's upcoming primary. Can Democrats pull off another Senate surprise, or will Republicans take this back? What voters are saying on the ground next.
Why are we drinking? Here's more on CNN next week on CNN.
Short after neighborhood accelerator promotes thicker,
and be free. And get 5% cash back, like in restaurants. Or gas, or groceries, and bills and savings. From a John John is America's #1 choice for pet.
I thought it was just a fatty liver, but it's actually MASH. It's serious. It's scarring my liver and it requires more than losing weight.
This defect is made for MASH with mild to intense liver scarring without cirrhosis, along with diet and exercise. It has accelerated FDA approval. Studies are ongoing to confirm benefit. Only Resdifra works directly in the liver. It helps reduce MASH and liver scarring.
Before taking, tell your doctor about liver or gallbladder problems, or if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or plan to be. Serious side effects include liver injury, gallstones, gallbladder pancreas inflammation. Stop taking and call your doctor about tiredness, nausea, vomiting, fever, rash, yellowing of your skin or eyes, stomach pain. Tell your doctor if taking Fibrozil, clopidogrel, or statins. Side effects include diarrhea, itching, dizziness, constipation.
Resdifra made a difference for me.
Ask your liver specialist for Resdifra.
Can your sunglasses go from this to this?
These Warby Parker Sport.
Lightweight frames, high-tech specs. Classic, generic styles you can wear anywhere. In stores and at warbyparker.com.
You told to optimize. To act. There's always a promise of a better you. But what if you never meant to be fixed? Your biology development has arrived. It just needs a moment. Pharmacological reawakens that purpose. 400 nutrients, 4 seconds, 1 daily delight. This time, remember what you're doing. Spring, the unofficial new year for Fuel People. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings, Harbor Freight. This weekend, get a 25-gallon bucket and you spend $29.99 in stores.
Real milk, real cream, no lactose. Discover the joy of latte creamers.
Traffic protections were really grind my gears. That's before I went to Tire Rent that time. I got the best deal hands down. Tire Rent gave me 2 years of free road hazard protection. Precisely. Don't kill your dog.
Hey, Dr. Marty, are you there? What's wrong with this?
Let's check it out. It's still yellow, which means they're all through process. And Dr. Marty, we freeze-dry premium meats, fruit, and vegetables. And it's available at the local pet store.
What would you like to taste today? Every coffee and new world, every sip and new taste. It's the way. And you love your listeners. What else? How can we all understand? There's so much bad information and really good information gets drowned.
Nosferatu is embarrassing. You look like a child.
Jerry Swisher Parts Studio for record. Now streaming on the CNN app.
CNN is sending media right to country to see what it means to be an American today. Video alone.
Greg Ferguson, American on Purpose. Pay on CNN and next week on the CNN app.
All right, on Tuesday, voters in Georgia will head to the polls to pick candidates for the U.S. Senate and governor races in November. President Trump has not yet endorsed the Republican candidate in the Senate race. The winner will take on incumbent Democrat Senator John Ossoff. However, the governor's race, a billionaire with no political experience has flooded the airwaves with ads, and that's shaking up the Republican battle to replace outgoing Governor Brian Kemp. With me now to talk more about all of this and what's at stake, what we can expect, and what we don't expect. So on Tuesday is Maya Providence. She is the editorial director for Peach Poll, a Georgia-focused political news and analysis website. Maya, great to see you. This is quite the season, isn't it? My goodness. Let's start with the governor's race because if you live in Georgia, like you and I do, the airwaves have been flooded by all kinds of attack ads or introducing myself kind of ads. Take a listen to some of what voters here in the state have been doing over the last few months.
Greetings, Rick Jackson and Big Baby Burt Jones, two busy screaming at each other to care about you. Politics. Some makers are always in you. Rick Jackson.
remember, here's who believes in leader.
So, Trump has endorsed Burt Jones, who is a very tight fight with this billionaire newcomer, Rick Jackson, even though it's Jackson who really is flooding the airwaves. He's got the money to do it. And I wonder, have you gotten engaged for voters? What or who appeals to them? I think in the Republican primary, a lot of people are still riding with Trump, especially in Georgia. So his endorsement of Burt Jones has an impact, but the endorsement came before Rick Jackson got into the race. But Trump is very loyal to people who supported him, and Burt Jones has been supported since 2016. And it's very interesting because Jackson, even though he didn't necessarily get the endorsement, he has mentioned Trump a few times, saying how much of a supporter and a fan he is of him. So he seems to think that that might help him. I think every Republican running in the statewide race is trying to draw lines between themselves and Trump as much as possible. On the Democratic side, you've got former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, former Republican Lieutenant Governor, turned Democrat now, Jeff Duncan, in a pretty big field. So set the stage for us on that one. Yes, it's a large field. Keisha Lance Bottoms, in all of the polling, has the head. I think she has high name recognition. She works in Joe Biden's administration. She's on television, national here as well. And so I think she is solidly going to make it to a runoff. If the question is just who's going to be the second person with her, whether it's Jeff Duncan, who, as you mentioned, was a Republican lieutenant governor, or it could be Michael Thurman, former DeKalb CEO, DeKalb County CEO, and also the last Democratic statewide officer who is the commissioner. And then we have J.C. Estes, former state senator, and these people with that very wow, it's pretty big. Selection of voters now have to kind of whittle down. Yes. Yeah, there's also one Georgia House seat that has really caught your attention. Georgia's 13, with the incumbent Congressman David Scott, passed away last month. Now that too has a very crowded field. People vying for that seat. How's that race look? It's difficult to say. There's one candidate, former House Representative, Georgia Representative, Jasmine Clark, who has raised a lot of money. She's crossed $1 million, and that's a lot for that's a lot for a House seat, first time winning for a federal seat. And then we have Everton Blair, who's a former educator and Gwinnett County school board member. And so those two seem to be duking it out for the top two, but again, there's so many people in this race that it's probably going to go around. So, okay. So the Republican race for the Senate to take on Democrat John Ossoff. Trump has not yet endorsed a candidate, but Governor Brian Kemp has endorsed Derek Dooley. Does Kemp have kind of a clout of influence to help make a difference in this as he's on his way out? I think that is going to be the test. That's going to be the real test. Does Brian Kemp still have enough juice left to push this political newcomer with a very well-known family name? Since Dooley was long-time Georgia football coach. But the two congressmen, Mike Collins and Buddy Carter, both position themselves as Trump guys, and I think that is part of the reason why Trump has not yet endorsed. And if it's those two in the runoff, I don't know if it will. The turnout for early voting was pretty aggressive here in Georgia, and traditionally, candidates have been able to kind of gauge that kind of turnout. What does it mean? Are there any early readings on that ahead of Tuesday's day of voting? So Democrats are voting about 15-point gap between Republicans who have early voted and voted on the mail-in ballot. But typically, Republicans turn out in higher numbers on election day. So a lot of Democratic strategists are, feeding into this 15-point margin, but we really won't know until Governor Kemp flexing his political weight in the final months of his time in office by calling for a special session next month as he tackles the voting reforms, redistricting in the state of Georgia. We're seeing how across the South, especially after the Supreme Court's ruling, a number of states, Louisiana, Alabama, and now Georgia, that might end up being redrawn. Yeah, so take it right off. Which I think is interesting because there's so many people running for statewide office who will have before who have to show up in the Senate chamber, potentially the Lieutenant Governor for Jones. And so we will be seeing them as we go on congressional lines and legislative lines. And, it's always pretty safe for Republicans who remain control, but they definitely want to make sure that goes forward. All right, Georgia used to be more important, right? But now a lot of Georgia wants to get in some very pivotal races. All right, Maya, probably thanks so much. Christine. All right, coming up, Moscow in the crosshair. Ukraine launches its biggest attack on Russia in more than a year. Detail on the deadly new strike straight ahead.
What our message is to Congress was nothing short of miraculous.
Listening for years to the second on CNN. Next day on CNN.
Spring, the unofficial new year of fuel people, new jobs, new projects. Celebrate your year with quality tools and savings at Harbor Freight. This weekend, get 3 5-gallon bucket when you spend $29.99 in stores.
Did you hear about Sheila's test for colon cancer? No, what? It's just a blood test. No. Exactly.
So I don't have to spend time doing all that other stuff?
Nope.
Shields for people 45 plus or older, not higher for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shields, like company trusted blood test for cancer for over a decade.
This isn't for show. This is America. So we open our doors, step out our lawns. We do whatever the hell we want. Build, burn, party, laugh, love, learn. Cut our bits sharp. Keep it green. Because this isn't some royal palace. It's just soil, sweat, 250 years in the American yard. So come around back. We'll show you what it's all about.
Don't kill your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Read that.
What's wrong with this? It's green and stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still killed, which means it's ultra processed and extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in food. And after all, you can gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never killed.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
When I started holding down classes, I turn all this fancy ingredients into a classroom program. A good idea does, but it's magical AI powers. Now, creates and slaps that sweet thing everywhere.
Can your sunglasses go from this to this, and this to this? Meet Warby Parker Sport. Ultra lightweight eyewear made that's built. Designed to be worn every day and everywhere. Providing high-tech features, classic frame shoes, and you get your prescription. It's a new way of seeing performance eyewear. Shop Warby Parker Sport in stores and at warbyparker.com.
You know what time it is? We all do. This is the NBA playoffs. The stage is set, the mic is on. There's only one question left to answer. Who's got something to say? The 2026 NBA playoffs.
The biggest selection of plants and trees. Perfect for your yard. That's what fastgrowingtrees.com delivers. And every tree comes with our Live and Thrive guarantee. Get the plants you want and the results you'll love. See now at fastgrowingtrees.com.
Healthy aging support starts here with the innovative nitric oxide science behind your vitamin, supporting your body from the heart out through circulation, blood flow, blood pressure, and energy. Results you can feel, science you can trust. Get started today at Merck.com.
When dry eyes need a boost, up to 10 hours of relief to help you keep growing. Relief with every blink. Feel the love quiet or what was on the skyline? More middle of your
Gentle ones are tailored and personalized plans. You can lose the weight and keep it on. Get started now for $79.
That's all. I set aside a week to sell my car, Clarence.
He's picking up tomorrow. He's picking up the spot. What are we supposed to do all this time?
Is it a museum? Or we learn Italian? Or we do anything like Chiina? What are we gonna do? Sell your car to car combo today.
No! I have a chicken master! Redford is it. American on purpose. 10:30, CNN.
All right, Russian state media said a Ukraine drone killed at least 3 people near Moscow overnight. The TASS news agency says more than 500 drones rained down around the Russian capital in the largest attacks in more than a year. Images show damaged homes, fires, and debris near Moscow's main airport. The attack reportedly left at least 12 people injured. And this video posted to social media reportedly shows one of the drones flying near Moscow. CNN's Anna Kubin has more on the drone attack that comes days after a deadly Russian assault inside Ukraine.
Ukraine's massive attack on Moscow last night involved over 500 drones fired towards the Russian capital. That's according to Russian state media agency TASS. And TASS said this was the largest attack on Moscow in over a year. This comes a few days after, over Wednesday, Thursday, we saw a huge bombardment of Russian drones and missiles towards Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, where 25 people died, according to Ukrainian authorities. This attack involved over 1,500 drones and over 50 missiles. Now, it's taken a dark picture from where we were a little over a week ago when there was a limited 3-day ceasefire agreed between the two sides, an agreement to exchange prisoners, and comments from Putin that suggested that he believed the war was nearing its conclusion. But quite clearly, with huge attacks over the past few days, it seems the war is very much raging on. Now, zooming out, it's important to note that Ukraine has had some successes, or at least Russia has been stalling in its territorial gains. Last month, for the first time since August 2024, Ukraine managed to liberate more territory than Russia was able to seize. However, it is still a deadly war that's raging on. Last year, according to the UN, marked the deadliest year for Ukrainian civilians since 2022, which is the year that the war started, and Russia still controls around a fifth of Ukrainian territory. Anna Kubin, CNN, London.
The Ebola outbreak in Congo and Uganda is now a global health emergency. That's the word from the World Health Organization after at least 80 deaths are suspected to be connected to the virus. There currently is no approved vaccine or treatment, and officials are warning that the true scale of the outbreak may be larger than what has been detected so far. Humanitarian organizations are preparing to launch large-scale responses to contain the outbreak as quickly as possible. And 40 years after the world's worst nuclear disaster, the CNN original series Disaster, the Chernobyl meltdown, uncovers the full story from the explosion and KGB cover-up to today's war in Ukraine.
Reactor not leaving any cold water. That would cause a reactor meltdown. So they became fixated at that point on getting water into the reactor. The gate valves on the cooling system had to be turned manually. Alexander Akimov, Adeline Thompson, went to the valve compartment and they spent a long time there in enormous fields of gamma radiation, struggling to open first one gate valve, then the other one. What they didn't realise was that opening the valves was a complete waste of time because there was no longer a reactor core to cool. Akimov and Thompson both received lethal doses of radiation. They died a few weeks later.
Be sure to tune in to Disaster, the Chernobyl meltdown tonight at 9 Eastern and next day on the CNN app. All right, still ahead, race against time in Maldives. We'll look at the perilous mission some of the world's best divers have joined after a scuba diving tragedy there. Details coming up.
Relax, laugh, even cool down tonight 8 on CNN or watch on the CNN app.
What does Skechers' new Arrowverse and Skechers Race Car have in common? Both have a favorite divers on the team and feature good gear rubber for incredible grip. However, one takes a whole team and the other you just step in front. Go fast the easy way and use Skechers Arrowverse.
Plus, anti-reflective lens coating. Oh, award-winning customer service. That's also me. I see. And free frame adjustments for legs.
And that's included in the
$95. Oh, welcome to Orient Parker.
with China, you can be free. And
5% cash back. Like it was done.
even monthly bills and streaming services. Marketing a high discount. Voila. China is America's #1 choice for betting. Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. New jobs, new projects. Celebrate your new year with quality tools and savings. Harbor Freight. This weekend, 3 5-gallon bottles down at the magic store.
When dry eyes need a boost. Up to 10 hours of relief to help you keep going. Relief with every click. There's a lot to consider when finding the best CLL treatment for you. Brukinsa brings clarity to your path ahead. Brukinsa is an oral targeted treatment for CLL. It's the only BTKI proven superior to both another BTKI and to chemotherapy. Side effects were manageable, with most people staying on treatment. And Brukinsa had low rates of cardiovascular events, including AFib. Brukinsa can cause serious side effects which may lead to death. Bleeding problems are common and may increase with blood thinners. Serious infections may occur and cause fevers, chills, or flu-like symptoms. Decreased blood counts and new cancers such as skin cancer and liver problems may occur. Heart-rhythm problems such as fast irregular heartbeat, lightheadedness, fainting, shortness of breath, or chest discomfort may occur. Tell your doctor if you have bleeding, infections, heart problems, or any other side effect, or if you are or plan to be pregnant or breastfeeding. See your future clearly again. Ask your doctor if you might do better with Brukinsa.
Millionaire Colorado's newest and proudest customer. So far, and we're teaming up to create Chef Butter. Chef Butter will be our most civilized customers to Chef Butter. This is Chef Butter. Or Car Butter, and buy your car today.
You told to optimize. To act. There's always a promise of a better meal. But what if you recommend to this? You biology knows that product. It just needs a moment. Pharmacological reawakens that purpose. 400 nutrients. 4 seconds. 1 day to get back. This time, remember what you're making.
Don't kill your dog.
Hey, Dr. Marty.
Be back.
What's wrong with this?
Let's check it out. It's still killed, which means they're all food processed. And Dr. Hardy, we freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, and it's available at the local pet store.
The Dr. Trio protects against 3 diverse parasites. This drug class has been associated with neurologic side effects, including seizures. Used with caution in dogs with or without history of eating disorders. Don't just protect, triple protect. It's this simple. Expect to pay less during our mini sales drop. And Franklin Chiina offers you try again today. And please the new 2026 Kia K4 LXX. Just $179 a month. And Franklin Chiina offers you. Oh, slide to the left. Slide to the right.
Really good slide.
Closed captioning brought to you by MesoBook.com. If you or a loved one have music here in your life, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you. 800-214-4000.
A Canadian passenger from that antivirus-stricken cruise ship has received a presumptive positive test result for the virus. Canadian officials say the person is in their 70s. They began showing mild symptoms 2 days ago. They are now hospitalized along with their partner. If confirmed, the Canadian patient will be the 10th person to test positive from the ship. And that ship, at the center of the outbreak, is expected to arrive in the Netherlands tomorrow, according to a statement from the tour operator. The remaining crew and medical staff will leave the ship in staggered shifts. The vessel will then be cleaned and disinfected. All right, in sports, a Super Sunday in this country is restored for the final round of the PGA Championship. Then, sports anchor Patel is in suburban Philadelphia, joining us right now. Patrick, Alex Lawley comes into today with the lead all to himself, but one of those lurking just behind him is fan favorite Rory McIlroy, just off his Masters win. What's up?
I'd have to get thousands out on the course here behind me to run a golf course. Just a few miles outside of Philadelphia, yeah. And you can be sure Rory McIlroy will certainly be a factor. I'm quite sure throughout the afternoon. But so much focus really on Alex Lawley, the 29-year-old from New York State, who's able to be up in light to the two-shot lead into Sunday's final round. Keep in mind, this is a player who says he's not comfortable in the limelight. He doesn't like attention on him. Well, you better get used to it, especially if he's hooked on to win. But I'll tell you this, no single professional tour victory to his name. Never even had the 54-hole lead. So, how's he handling it all? Take a listen to what he had to say after round three.
Anybody who wants to play golf for a living dreams of winning on the PGA Tour when they're younger. And I recognize that I have an opportunity to do that. I recognize that it's on a stage that's a little bit larger than most other tour events. Trying to downplay that as much as I possibly can, just make it seem like any other golf tournament, because essentially that's all it really is. Maybe pull it out tomorrow.
Will be and the one of the heats of the day, but no battle. Some huge names lurking with intensity, including the out John Rahm, a two-time major winner, has put himself really in contention. He's seeking to make history and win this tournament for the first time, representing the nation of Spain. No Spanish golfers have ever won this tournament. Three, that would be 3/4 of the Grand Slam. And also Rory McIlroy, mentioned him off the top of Rory McIlroy, fresh off the back of back-to-back Masters Grand. He really is in contention. He had a stunning round on Saturday, a 4 under par 66. He tried to win this famous old tournament, which dates all the way back to 1916, played for a third time. And if he can go on and get the job done, it would be a 7th career major.
Oh my God, on a roll. All right, Patrick Down. Thank you so much. After the break, a CNN exclusive investigation into some 50 deaths inside ICE detention center. Now, one family demanding answers after losing a loved one.
CNN Sports coverage of the PGA Championship is brought to you by the best fitness plan on the best network. Today, business has been virtually everywhere. That's why you can Super Bowl from T-Mobile. And over the time, T-Mobile network is that. Your business connection first. Super Bowl, the best business plan on the best network. Free. It's unofficial leader.